Who do I wrestle for?
You got 1 minute.
On my high school
Thank
team
you.
for Jason Garcia, my fiercest competitor during practice and my biggest fan during meets. I wrestle for my parents who practice what they preach, the importance of hard work, commitment, and dedication. I wrestle for the chance to put our little high school right here in Connecticut on the map.
Wearing the uniform of your high school comes with a big responsibility. Younger kids look up to you. Your teammates count on you. And the reputation of your high school depends on you. Do you have what it takes to participate in a high school sport?
And I wrestle for the glory that is mine when I do my best. That's who I wrestle for.
This message presented by the Connecticut
All right, here we go.
Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out of touch people in the entire world. It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat. When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay their rent. The people who want to know what both candidates are going to do to materially affect change in their lives. And when I was there listening to the speeches, I felt myself feeling mad because I didn't hear anything about the economy. Definitely not in Kamala's speech and not very much in the others as well. Instead, I heard generic platitudes, things like joy and respect and integrity, and what does that even mean? I thought I was part of the party that fought for the underdog, that championed working people. When and how did we just become the party of academia and affluence? Because that's what we are right now.
Yeah. Another satisfied customer. Brought to you by the Democrat Party, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta love them. You know what time it is. It's time for Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Don't forget, in order for you to listen to this show when the Red Sox are playing live, you got to go to the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app right now. Hurry up. Get the Odyssey app. Get it in your lives. Become a part of mainstream. Get yourself the Odyssey app. We got plenty of news and plenty of views to get into. It's Monday, and nobody is happier than me. When everyone else is talking about I'm not a Monday person and you got a case of the Mondays. Yeah, I got a case of the Mondays. I'm extremely happy. It's a work day. Everybody's back to work. Get back to work. Get back to work. Anyway, for a lot of you, you're getting off work, so you're in the car riding home. I hope you had a good Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. I guess I had an okay weekend. It was all right. I kind of feel like it went by fast, and that's a good thing for me. But it was a weekend. A lot of stuff going on, of course, in the world. But I got so much other stuff to get into. But I want to talk about my Sunday show, if I could, because while I was taping the Sunday show, I thought about something, and I'm going to do this. And I want someone to help me do this. I want all of you to help me do this. Where can you get a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich served to you at like a deli or a bakery? Who makes a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Last week we talked about that. And, you know, I'm not going to say anybody's name, Roland, who was talking about grape, jelly in such a disparaging way. I would never, ever out the person who would disparage grape jelly in such a way, Roland, who was talking about strawberry preserves and other blasphemous things you put on, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, Roland. And it's really, really impossible to live in a world where people like Roland does not understand the importance of grape jelly on peanut butter and a sandwich. It's just, and I think he's been slighted in some way, or maybe he was just, I don't know, he was abused in a food-like way as a child and made to eat organic as a child. I don't know if that's true, but maybe, just maybe, somebody has tortured him with vegan and organic-like food. But I want to know if you know a place, if there's a deli around Connecticut where they make a good peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And bonus points if they do a double-decker, like a club version of the sandwich. See, if I have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, it has to be a double-decker. That's 3 slices of bread, by the way. Those of you who know, you know. We'll get into that. John Beckman's in the chat room. He said, I just had a grape jelly and PB sandwich with cold milk, nothing better. Now, because I'm lactose intolerant, I can't enjoy the milk. I used to, but I can't do it anymore. After 35, I can no longer drink milk. I have no idea what happened to me, but I can't drink milk. Somebody said that that's actually a digestive thing after 35. You can't do it. You can't drink milk anymore. Let's find that odd. Don't forget, we've also got the 5 o'clock focus coming up. And it's actually, ironically, it's related to Governor Lamont's. I guess he's going to give a press conference about some aid that's going to go to businesses that were caught up in the storms over last weekend. And there's going to be some relief for them. But I'm going to talk to you. I want to ask the 5 o'clock focus question that's somewhat related to that. So stick around 4:50. I'm going to bring up the 5 o'clock focus. And we may have to spend a little bit of time on it. I think people will have a lot of answers to this question coming up. Don't forget, you can also join us in the chat room by going to reasonthereradio.com. That's reasonthereradio.com. And you can opine there by joining us on Facebook, on Rumble, and on X. Kamala Harris is afraid to debate Donald Trump. Why? I don't know, but we'll get into it. That wasn't what I wanted to get into. What I wanted to get into was this. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, when Kamala Harris became the nominee? And everyone was up in arms in the Democrat Party. Everyone was elated. They were excited about Kamala Harris being the nominee. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Kamala Harris as the candidate was the best thing that could ever happen to the Democrat Party. And there we were. You would forget that anyone was scared to death of voting against Joe Biden. Joe Biden had to be the candidate. Let me tell you. Here's Joy Reid. I want to play this. Listen to this closely, just so we go back and remember. Joy Reid.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play in traffic all you want in front of these Republicans, acting a fool in front of these people instead of privately declaring your stuff. But don't text me no more, because I'm not taking no more of these texts. Just let me know when you guys are finished figuring it out, Democrats, because I know y'all the freak out people. Go ahead and freak out, have your conversation, and then let me know who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. That's it. I'm done. Oh, and by the way, if it's Biden in a coma, I'm going to vote for Biden in a coma. I don't even really particularly like the guy. A lot of his policies, don't like him. He's not Donald Trump, right? Yeah. Hitler, White House. We keeping him out. Keeping project.
Okay. So Joy Reid, black woman, never once mentions Kamala Harris in that audio. That's back, July? First week of July? When I first started playing that audio? That was just, a couple of weeks after the debate? But here's something interesting. Last Monday, Joe Biden gives his farewell address at the Democrat National Convention. Immediately after, he gets on a plane and he flies from Chicago to California to go stay a week at a donor's home for vacation. While he's on vacation, he then ends that vacation and drives to his vacation home in Rehoboth. While this happens, we get Hezbollah attacking Israel, and we get Ukraine invading Russia. All of that's happening while the President of the United States is on vacay. Do you notice one thing no one's talking about? The one thing where everyone should be at. They're not asking it, but they should be, but they're not. Where's Kamala? Everyone's saying, hey, who's running the White House? Who's directing the ship at the White House? Not one person that says, but Kamala's there. Oh, is she campaigning? Oh, is she not in office anymore? Is she so busy campaigning that she doesn't have an actual job that she was elected to do? I thought while the president was vacationing, somebody else was in charge. Who's that? I don't hear anybody screaming for Kamala to take the wheel. Where are they? I haven't once seen she's got nothing scheduled for the day. Where are all the pundits on television talking about, don't worry about it, Netanyahu, Kamala's on the job? Hey, Zelensky, get on the phone with Kamala. She'll answer your calls. Joe's taking a beat. I don't hear it. Why don't you? No one's asking? Here's the person who's supposed to be ready for the job on day one, while already in office. Why hasn't anyone given her the reins? Why hasn't she gone to a podium to talk about the events that have unfolded over the weekend? You have people on radio and television talking about we're on the cusp of World War III. But Joe Biden's taking a bath and Kamala is on campaign. Who's in charge? Is it Karine Jean-Pierre? Who's the person answering questions? Oh, is it John Kirby? Is it Jake Sullivan? Oh, hell. Is it Anthony Blinken? Lloyd Austin? Who's in charge? Please, somebody tell me who the hell is in charge. Because the two people who's supposed to be the best thing to run this country are nowhere to be found. The guy who got 81 million votes, napping. The person who's supposed to be the second coming of Barack Obama, was she getting her hair did? What's up? She getting her nails done? What's up? What's that? And I don't care if you call it sexist. Somebody's got to explain to me. I thought that she was the Messiah. But I don't hear anybody talking about it. Even the people who have been carrying her water for the last week, if not weeks, I don't hear them screaming and hollering about how fantastic it is to have her there. She's supposed to be ready now. Rama says that it's like, where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Kamala style. That's exactly what it's like. She's missing. We know where Biden is. It's not like we don't. But Kamala is so afraid to go anywhere, to do anything. And her people are too afraid of her to get in front of any situation at this point because they're scared to death that she's going to screw it up just by opening her mouth. All of these people are supposed to be so excited that we have somebody younger. Remember, Donald Trump's the old guy in the room. He's the old guy now. Yet he still looks more competent than the young woman. The 59-year-old looks far more confident than she does. Kamala Harris is the current vice president of the United States, right? Kamala Harris was the last person in the room when we left Afghanistan, right? But I didn't see Kamala Harris at the wreath-laying ceremony in Arlington today. Did you? I didn't see Joe Biden at the wreath-laying the celebration. Well, I can't call it a celebration. I apologize. But at the wreath-laying ceremony today in Arlington. Did you? I didn't see it. Who did we see? Who did we see? You know who you saw. Donald John Trump you saw there. I thought I was watching. I was like, wait a minute. What was this? Is this file tape from 2017? What's going on here? Why is Donald Trump there getting... Oh, he showed up. I find this incredible. Where's all that fanfare from last week? Where's all that celebratory nonsense that we heard last week? What happened to day one? She's going to, and you can listen to all of these pundits talk about how great that convention was. We are 4 days out from that convention, and we've got people still talking about it like in some way that still resonates today when actual things are happening. And you heard the young lady who just spoke. That young lady who just spoke is a former Obama intern who was at the DNC this past week and said she was disgusted by her party. She said, we have become the party of elites and affluent people. They no longer care about the little man. The Democrats have done anything and everything to alienate their base. And for what? And for what? The silliness of king-making is over. That used to be the way politics got done. This guy's turn, that guy's turn, this person's sexuality, this person's gender, that person's race. All of that's over now. Democrats just haven't wised up to it. Kamala Harris is not fit to be president of the United States. They know it. It's the reason why they can't even put her out in public, even when it matters. On the anniversary of the passing of 13 service members, she's nowhere to be found, and Joe Biden is on the beach in Rehoboth. And these are the people we're supposed to convince the rest of us are the right ones for the job. I don't know what to tell you. They are not going to get away with carrying water for Kamala Harris. They're not going to get away with it. When we return, I want to play this audio that everyone's playing everywhere. Everyone's playing everywhere. It is Tom Cotton, Senator Tom Cotton versus Jonathan Karl of ABC News. Jonathan Karl should be embarrassed to be a newsman. It is despicable what he allowed himself to be caught doing on camera in a conversation with Tom Cotton. He should be embarrassed. Democrats should be embarrassed for him. And it should reveal something very true, is that Kamala Harris cannot defend her record in any way. She needs the media to drag her over the finish line. I might even go so far as to say she's worse than Biden as a candidate. Because she's so incapable of being a viable candidate that what else can anyone do but do the job for her that she can't do herself? That's it. But we'll play that audio when we get back. Plus, Donald Trump responding to changes that Kamala Harris now wants on the ABC debate. And we'll go back in the Wayback Machine when it comes to what the media thought before versus today. So we got all that to get into. Stick around. I know we're online, so don't forget you can also call in. It's 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. It's Reese on the Radio. I'm filling in for Todd Feinberg, my homie
You know
G
there's no
Money.
commercials, right?
There are none? What, are we going straight through?
Yeah.
No commercials? I didn't know there were no commercials.
No commercials.
Nobody told me there are no commercials. You mean none? We go straight live? Oh, I'm digging this. I'm sorry. I didn't know that. You mean I could just...
You made this mistake before.
I did make this mistake before. I thought because we were online, we would still get to run the ads. I was wrong. Forgive me. That's okay. All right. So since we're not taking any breaks, give me a second. Let me get the audio because now we're ready to go. Tom Cotton versus Jonathan Karl. This is embarrassing. They should make him quit for this.
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms. These are all
what do you mean taking away health insurance? What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now. She knows.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean, she says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said on
this was not a radical.
Now let me stop that. Let me stop right there. Tom Cotton knows what Kamala Harris has said. Tom Cotton is well aware of it. But you see Jonathan Karl there? She's changed her position on those things. She's changed them. Well, again, stop me if you've heard this one before. John, what's so wrong with Medicare for all? You guys have been promoting that for 20 years. What happened? Why all of a sudden is it something you need to defend? I thought Medicare for all, didn't anybody watch Michael Moore's movie Sicko? I thought Medicare for all was, health insurance for all was what all we were talking about. Wasn't that what the Affordable Care Act was about? Everybody gets health care. We're the only country in the world that doesn't give health care to everyone. It's a right. It's a right. Isn't it? Now all of a sudden you're defending her position on it? Oh, well, she doesn't believe that anymore. Well, we went back to the Wayback Machine, John Karl. Of course we did. Here's what Kamala Harris's team said about her feelings when it comes to health care for all. And I couldn't believe it when I read it because I thought there was at least going to be something about it. Here's what they said, according to CBS News. On August 15th of this year, quote, the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. That's it. That's it. When asked about what her old policy positions were versus today, quote, the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. That's code for, she thinks a little differently now. There's another quote. Let's go to this one, okay? This is, again, my favorite.
Yo, we got to go.
Now we got to go. Okay, now we go take a break. Now he's ready. Okay. When we come back, I'll finish up this CBS article. All right, but stick around. Stay there. Your phone calls, more news, more views. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
And now, a WTIC news update.
3:31. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Governor Lamont is authorizing $5 million for the start of a micro grant program for small businesses that were damaged or destroyed as a result of the historic flooding last week. Small businesses and nonprofits in Fairfield, New Haven, and Litchfield counties with fewer than 100 employees will be eligible for up to $25,000 for cleanup, equipment replacement, and replenishing lost revenue. A severe thunderstorm and flash flood warnings are up for portions of the state as more heavy weather rolls through. We'll have the details coming up. Teenager is dead following a crash Sunday night in Manchester. It was around 8:30 that a vehicle driven by 19-year-old Michaela Thericeau struck a tree westbound on Buckland Hills Drive. Police are still investigating. No injuries in Granby after police there say over 24 shots were discharged in some type of neighbor dispute. This happened on Morningside Drive on Sunday. Under arrest is 30-year-old Stephen Gilbert. He's charged with threatening, reckless endangerment, and other offenses. The campaigns of Vice President Harris and former President Trump are now arguing in advance of their upcoming debate over whether microphones should be muted, except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. And Russia battered much of Ukraine with scores of missiles and drones that officials say killed 4 people, injured more than a dozen, and damaged energy facilities. WTIC News Time 3:32. Here's the forecast.
This afternoon, a mix of clouds and sun with a couple of showers and a thunderstorm. Some of those could produce flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts, the high of 84. Tonight, partly cloudy with a thunderstorm in spots early this evening, then some patchy fog late, the low down to 61. Patchy fog Tuesday morning, otherwise a mix of clouds and sun, the high of 86. Wednesday, rather cloudy, very warm and humid with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. The high Wednesday up to 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
All right, we had some heavy rain come through earlier. It's lightened up considerably. 75 right now is the temperature. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with a sun protection factor, or SPF, of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. UVA rays age the skin, UVB rays burn, and both cause cancer. But the perfect sunscreen doesn't count if you use it wrong. Don't need sunscreen on a cloudy day? Wrong. 80% of UV rays still get through the haze. Only use sunscreen at the beach? Nope. Anytime you're outside, UV rays attack the skin, so you need protection. And you have to reapply sunscreen every 2 hours. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equals healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Do you know a veteran in need? After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
Baseball season is 30 seconds away, and so is the Fan Base podcast. That's right, a baseball-only podcast. Started off as Yankees, Red Sox, but we talk about everything. John Senecal, Brian Shackman, that's me. Of course, you can listen to me Monday through Friday on Brian and Company, 5:30 to 9, but the podcast drops just about every week, and we talk about all things baseball. I find something to feel good about with the Red Sox, and John tries to avoid gloating because the Yankees are way better. Again, it's Fan Base, a deep dive into the greatest rivalry in sports.
We're back. Reese On The Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. So CBS News wrote an article back on the 15th of August talking about Kamala Harris now changing positions, which again, as I read, doesn't sound like doesn't even sound like much of a change of a position. It hasn't said that she evolved on anything. It just said, and I'll read the quote again, just so you know, you Libercrats, you like to get mad. It's not what she said. Well, I'm telling you what her aide said. Quote, the vice president's positions have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance as a part of the Biden-Harris administration. That's what they said. That's not, we've changed. On the question of policy stances. They have been shaped by 3 years of effective governance. I don't remember the Biden administration screaming, "Nah, we're against Medicaid for all or health care for all." Never once heard them. But CBS then tries to throw Trump under the bus in the article, which is, again, is amazing. Let me see. It says, earlier that year in April of 2019, Harris co-sponsored Senator Bernie Sanders' Medicaid for All bill. She co-sponsored it, which would have ended private health insurance and replaced it with single government-run issuer for everyone in America. Where has she changed that position? Nowhere. She's not giving any goods. She's not telling anybody anything. Harris released a health care plan in 2019 that would have put the U.S. on a path to government-backed health insurance over 10 years, but would not totally eliminate private health insurance. That she put out in 2019. But she co-sponsored a Medicare for All bill. Quote, "We will allow the private issuers to offer Medicare plans as part of the system that adhere to strict Medicare requirements on cost and benefits," Harris said at the time. "Medicare will set the rules of the road for these plans, including price and quality. And private insurance companies will play by those rules, not the other way around." Harris will not push for a single-payer government health insurance plan as president, according to a campaign official. According to a campaign official. But Kamala Harris has said nothing. So, when Jonathan Karl runs defense for the Kamala Harris campaign, and Tom Cotton looks at him like weirdly, it just goes, "She's not said that. Why are you repeating that?" Now, unlike guys like Tom Cotton, I would have said, "I'm sorry, are you a Kamala surrogate, John?" I don't understand why no one ever says that to these people. I would say, I apologize. Am I debating you or are you having an interview? You appear to be speaking for the campaign. Are you speaking for the Kamala Harris campaign?
And President Trump is going to draw a sharp contrast with Kamala Harris, who has supported things like decriminalizing illegal immigration or giving taxpayer-funded health insurance to illegal aliens or taking away health insurance on the job for 170 million Americans, banning gas cars, confiscating firearms.
These are all what do you mean taking away health insurance?
By the way, the taking firearms part didn't seem to get his goat at all. Jonathan Karl went through a litany of things, Tom Cotton did, and Jonathan Karl didn't respond to anyone else except for health care.
What are you talking about?
She said when she ran for president that she wants to eliminate private health insurance on the job, 170 million Americans, John.
Yeah, I mean that is not her position now. She knows.
How do you know that's not her position? How do you know that's not her position?
I mean,
yeah, how do you know that's not her position?
She says she no longer supports Medicare for all.
She has not said that. Maybe anonymous aides on a Friday night have said that, but the last thing that she said.
But this was not a radical convention. I mean, she as you heard me go through with Bernie Sanders, she is not taking the positions of the far left of her party. She's clearly making an effort to move to the middle.
I did hear what you said to Senator Sanders, and I thought it was clear that he's very disappointed that she's taking these efforts not to change her positions, but to hide her positions, John.
Ooh. And Bernie did say that.
The American people are totally justified to conclude that Kamala Harris is a dangerous San Francisco liberal based on what she campaigned on the last time she ran for president and what this administration has done for the last 4 years. Again, you would have thought watching the Democratic...
I don't want to get into that because that part, that's the weeds part. Because what he says next is really, really good, but it's in the weeds. I want to stick to this thing. So Jonathan Karl sitting there trying to debate Tom Cotton on what Kamala Harris's positions are is an embarrassment for the news media, as it should be. Nobody in the news media should be taking this position. They know they haven't spoken to her. They know she hasn't done any interviews. She's done no sit-downs, no press conferences at all. But yet, for any news person to be there carrying weight, clarifying her positions, doing this back and forth with other surrogates about what her positions are when we all know she's had no sit down with you? She releases no policy on her website. Well, now she has, but they're limited at best. She tried it once and she got completely destroyed because of it. And that's the whole price gouging nonsense. But this is a running scared. It's not even, it's worse than the whole hiding in the basement thing. And again, someone's going to have to convince me otherwise, because the Democrats are trying to tell me that, you know, she's a very bankable candidate for Democrats. But I got to be honest, I'm looking at what I've seen in the last month versus what Joe Biden gave us in the last, couple of weeks. At least he showed up. They would tear into Joe Biden and say, Joe Biden, you're not doing a press conference. And Joe Biden would come out and do a press conference. Reluctantly, yes. Would he fail miserably? Sure he would. He would make horrible mistakes that we'd end up talking about for weeks on end. But he did them. He refused to let anybody define him. He stepped out there. Even when it was embarrassing. Don't get me wrong. What was it when he called Kamala Harris Vice President Donald Trump? And then Donald Trump live Truth Socialed him. And then Joe Biden double whammied himself by saying, listen to him. Oh, it was awful. But at least the guy was fearless. Kamala Harris, right? Remember, what we're supposed to believe is that Donald Trump is afraid of debating Kamala Harris. And for the obvious reasons. Not because she's young. Oh, no. Not because she's good at her job. Oh, no. Oh, no. Donald Trump is afraid of Kamala Harris because he's afraid to talk or debate with a black woman. Because he can't help himself. That deep down, he wants to call her the N-word. Deep down, he wants to call her the B-word. That's why he's afraid. He's afraid of Kamala Harris because he just can't resist it. He, in some exchange, he'll turn around and just, oh, shut up, you! Like that's going to happen. But Donald Trump's not afraid of Kamala Harris. What is there to be afraid of? I'll tell you who's afraid. Every Democrat walking the earth who supports her. They're scared to death of her. And you know you are, because if you weren't, you wouldn't be saying stupid things like, she doesn't have to go out there and talk to anybody. You'd be encouraging her to go out there and talk, to show the world. Donald Trump is afraid of her, right? MAGA is scared of her. MAGA is afraid of a strong black woman being out there. We're afraid of a strong black woman being in control. Well, prove us wrong. Get her out there. Show us how competent she is. What are you hiding her for? Here's Donald Trump.
Would you want the microphone muted in the debate whenever you're not speaking?
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine. I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine.
Now, according to several published reports, Kamala Harris wants to change the rules of the debate at ABC. They want to unmute the mics. Keep them wide open. They really, really want them. No, we want Donald Trump to be able to speak freely and interrupt. We need to change that. We can't have Donald Trump muted. Let him free, they said. And now they're trying to tell us that Donald Trump is afraid of having the mics or the mute button taken away. Again, listen for yourself.
Would you want the microphone muted in the debate whenever you're not speaking?
We agreed to the same rules. I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'd rather have it probably on, but
He'd probably rather have it unmuted. Those are his words. But
the agreement was that it would be the same as it was last time. In that case, it was muted. I didn't like it the last time, but it worked out fine.
He didn't like it, but it worked out fine.
I mean, ask Biden how it worked out. It was fine. And I think it should be the same. We agreed to the same rules and same specifications. And I think that's probably what it should be. But they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
Now, I'll get into that line right there in a minute, because that's going to be a bone of contention with the news media. She's not a smart person. From June 27, 2024, MAGA fumes over microphone rule at Biden-Trump debate. This one is from The New Republic. This one from Newsweek. Joe Biden's debate move could come back to haunt him. This was also written the day before the debate, June 26. In this article, it says, this is from talking about Katty Kay from the BBC. She's a correspondent who presents a show called The Rest in Politics. She said the Biden campaign requested the candidates have their microphones muted when they are not recognized to speak in order to promote orderly proceeding prior to accepting the terms of the debate. CNN later confirmed that each candidate's microphone would be muted except when it's their turn to answer their questions. Now, Katty Kay says that may be a bad thing because they don't get anything out of Donald Trump looking unhinged. That it may come back to him because Donald Trump will look measured. Donald Trump will only speak when he's allowed to speak, and he won't be able to shout and interrupt. This can only make Donald Trump look good. And according to Katty Kay, that could be bad for Joe Biden. This one from the New York Times. Trump, Biden, and CNN prepare for a hostile debate with muted mics. This article goes on to talk about how it's a good thing to finally shut the president up, to keep him quiet so they have an orderly debate where everyone answers questions and the audience can understand what each candidate is saying. Now, all of a sudden, read every article about this, and what are they saying? Donald Trump's afraid to have an unmuted mic. Donald Trump is scared to be freestyling with Kamala Harris without the guardrails of a muted microphone. I remember everybody, as I just read to you, we're excited about the muted microphones. Finally, we'll be able to shut them up. He won't be able to interrupt. They were afraid of that. Donald Trump won't have a gotcha moment like he did with Hillary Clinton. Now it's Donald Trump who's afraid. But my favorite part is that line where he says that she's not a smart woman.
Should be, but they're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
She's not a smart person. And that's taboo. You're never supposed to say that about a woman, much less a black woman. Because you know they're all smart. They're all brilliant. There's not a dumb and unintelligent one amongst them. They are all Mensa members. All of them. And that's a fact. 860-522-WTIC. My good friend Matt in Bristol. What's going on, Matt?
Mr. Hopkins, how are you doing?
Pretty good, sir. What's up?
Good. Before I get to what I called about, it's so funny. What you just said about them debating them and being a surrogate for, I said the exact same thing on Tom's show today. It's like our brains are connected.
Of course.
Not just the same thing, but the same word.
Oh, did you?
Same, like exactly how you said it.
Oh, wow. So what'd you call about? I'm sorry.
Are you stalking me, sir? Are you stalking me and taking my ideas? Is that what's going on?
I can say the thing about you, sir.
Yeah, you really could.
Anyway, what's going on?
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. So the Trump is a debate. When he's debating Kamala, I'm sorry, all he's going to say is the last time he was on the debate stage against her boss, he said no one died in Afghanistan.
That's right.
Would you like to correct the record and apologize for your administration? And that would be a knockout punch.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because what is he going to say? He either have to throw him under the bus or deny that anyone died.
I think
there is no out.
What's going to happen here is, listen, if this debate takes place, Matt, I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. And it is going to be a very, very, it's going to be a horrible night for a lot of people who support Kamala Harris. And that is this. Kamala Harris is not gifted in answering direct questions. And you might hearken back to a moment. I'll play it later on. But go back to that moment where Tulsi Gabbard takes her to the woodshed about her record as Attorney General. When she talked about keeping people in jail as manual labor, about keeping a man on death row when she had exculpatory evidence to exonerate him, when she was locking up people for marijuana charges while laughing about smoking weed in college, and trying to arrest parents for truant children. When Tulsi Gabbard lays all of that out, Kamala had an opportunity, not once, but twice by Anderson Cooper, I apologize, to respond to those claims. And do you know what Kamala Harris said? All she talked about was, I was the one out there doing the work. I was out there. So all she can talk about is the fact that she did her job or does her job. She can't respond to what she's being accused of because they land and they're factual. So they know that when she comes out there, her record's going to be on display and she has no response to them. No one's going to give her a response to them. They're not going to say, well, I was threatening to arrest parents for children on truancy because I was trying to solve a problem. And how were you trying to solve them? By arresting parents who had to provide for their children. She has no answer for that, and neither does her campaign. They can't spin it. Everything about her can't be spun. So that's why they're afraid. And I think his name is Guy Benson on Fox News the other day. There's a clip of him, and I'll find it. He says the reason why they want to change the rules with this unmuted mic is because they want Kamala to have a I'm speaking moment where she interrupts him. I'm speaking. And to have that be the soundbite that shows her interrupting and disrespecting Donald Trump. That will be the going commentary. So if the mics are off, Donald Trump will interrupt her, and then she will interrupt him saying, excuse me, I'm speaking, do not interrupt me. And she'll have a sister girl moment that everyone will then call, look at Donald Trump being put in check by Kamala Harris. That's it.
But if Donald Trump, if he stays really good and he just doesn't interrupt her and waits till she interrupts him, and he lets her speak and say, are you done now? Can I speak? And can I please get my time back?
Yep.
And he's very regimented in the way he does it.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest with you, if Donald Trump is wise in this part by saying that he would rather have them unmuted, right? No mute. He would rather do them. He didn't like the mute button, but it worked out fine. So he's saying we need to stick to the rules. So he's playing both sides of this fence, which is brilliant. But I tell you this, I like the muted thing for the reasons you just said. And that is, he gets to be disciplined because of the microphone. Now, Donald Trump is an instinctive kind of guy, right? He's like, he gets an instinct to, this is the reason why he did so well with Hillary Clinton with the whole because you be in jail thing, because he's got the quick wit. But the measured tone and the measured sort of application of Donald Trump in that debate against Joe Biden worked for him. And they know it's going to work against Kamala Harris because when she has absolute no interruption to make a response to her record or a response to a question by Donald Trump, she is going to flutter. She's going to be nervous. She won't know how to respond to it. They will give her several chances without interruption, and she will literally bury herself. I know she will because that's what we've been. What interview can you think of Kamala Harris didn't bury herself when she was communicating with an interviewer? You can't find one.
That's why he needs to be disciplined, like you said, and ask her a question like that. Put her on the spot.
That's right.
And shut up. And just let her bury herself.
That's right. Let her dig her own hole. Thank you, Matt. We got to take a break. We'll be back. More news, more views, and hopefully, is the Red Sox game over? Maybe we'll get back to terrestrial. We'll be back there in a second. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. And let's go to the PPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Okay, maybe not.
I'm gonna just go to weather.
Okay. It said that menstrual members, but definitely not Mensa. Michael P. Yes, Michael B. That's what we always say, right? He had the vacation after we vacation.
There'll be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around. Now, some of those storms will be capable of producing flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 84. Then tonight, partly cloudy with the thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog late. The low down to 61. Tuesday starts with some patchy fog in the morning. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun. A warm day with a high of 86. For Tuesday night, mainly clear and warm. The low only down to 67. Wednesday, rather cloudy. It'll be very warm and humid with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high Wednesday up to 89. Now Thursday, mainly cloudy. It'll be cooler and less humid. The high of 75 with a nice breeze out of the east-northeast. Friday, beautiful day to round out the week with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Pleasant temps, the high of 76. Saturday, low clouds with a thunderstorm in spots of the afternoon. The high back to 76. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. You heard in the weather there, showers and thunderstorms. We had quite the storm around here about an hour or so ago. Torrential rain, some hail. There are still thunderstorm watches and flash flood warnings up for parts of the state. The severe thunderstorm watch expires at 7. And those small businesses and nonprofits that were damaged or destroyed by last week's historic flooding are receiving a lifeline. Governor Lamont is announcing the creation of a micro grant program in addition to any federal money that may come by way of last week's disaster declaration. Daniel O'Keefe is the commissioner for the State Department of Economic and Community Development.
The program is capped at $5 million in aggregate and grants of up to $25K. If you do the simple math, assuming everyone avails themselves of the full $25K, that's 200 businesses.
Monday's announcement took place at the 67 Family Diner, where Mike Abe is the owner.
I lost everything, and we appreciate that the governor here. And on behalf of all, I'm asking, please, to help us as soon as possible.
O'Keefe says the application process goes live September 3rd. More information is available at DECD CT Recovery at ct.gov. Waterbury police have made a 4th arrest in connection with a homicide from last fall of a city teen. The police are now charging 20-year-old Jada Ellis of Waterbury as an additional suspect, in connection with the shooting death last November of Joseph Zavala. He was 18 at the time of his death. Ellis faces a charge of conspiracy. He's being held on $250,000 bond. Well, today was the first day of the new school year for a number of Connecticut cities and towns. In Waterbury, students returned to a new cell phone policy where students lock their devices in yonder pouches. It's an optional plan with guidance from the state. High school senior Haley Johnson says she's not thrilled about it, but she understands.
I have mixed feelings about it, good and bad. I mean, I understand why they're doing it because we're definitely on our phones too much. Speaking for myself, I'm definitely on my phone a lot. But I mean, it could also be negative because some people, like, you need to get in contact with your family, your parents. You can't do that if, like, your phone's locked away.
Audio from WFSB. International Overdose Awareness Day is receiving attention ahead of the official day, which is on Saturday. Nancy Navarrete is the commissioner for the State Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services.
We must ensure that everyone from young people to older adults understands the risks associated with substance misuse. We must encourage open and honest conversations about the dangers of substances, the signs of addiction, and the safe use and disposal of prescription medications.
Manchester police say a teen is dead after a crash on Buckland Hills Drive last evening. 19-year-old Michaela Therique of Vernon. Vehicle she was operating went off the roadway and hit a tree around 8:30 last night. She died at an area hospital. It's not clear why the car left the road, and police are continuing their investigation. Dangerously hot weather settling into portions of the upper plains and south.
Dangerously hot conditions in the center of the country this afternoon. The heat index will get as hot as 110 or more in several states, and the above average, even record-setting heat makes its way east into tomorrow.
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow closed at a record high today, 41,240. To finish 65 points up. NASDAQ dropped 152 and the S&P was down 17 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran in need?
1 minute.
Leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
All right, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio. NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I understand that it's the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Red Sox are not doing great, 4-0 against the Toronto Blue Jays. One site says it's the top of the 8th, but yet my Sling account says it's the bottom of the 8th. So this could be all over soon. It could be all a wrap. The aforementioned Guy Benson on the Fox News channel. This is what he said.
Give me your best 15 seconds, Guy.
I think the Harris campaign is trying to change the rules of this debate that they've agreed to because they want Donald Trump to interrupt their candidate so she can have a viral "I'm speaking" moment. That's what's going on here.
And that's because, again, the weight of the Kamala Harris campaign is about nothing more than sister girl moments. And that's what it is. They think they're going to pull the sister girl moment. That I have these phrases, folks. I use them all the time. Back in the days, during the Obama campaign, I don't even know if I should bring it up because I got into a lot of trouble the last time I mentioned it. And it's not a slur or anything like that. It isn't. I didn't say anything slanderous or anything like that. It wasn't anything scandalous. But it was. Let me just put it to you this way. They ran the Barack Obama campaign as the black man versus the white woman campaign. when it was Barack Obama versus Hillary Clinton. And Hillary Clinton started that war, by the way. For all of you people talking all this mess about the, Donald Trump being the birther, the OG birther. No. That was none other than Hillary Clinton. She played the, fear the black man. That was the one she ran. She ran that campaign. She did a lot of othering of Barack Obama. She did. And there was a term that I called it. Maybe I'll talk about it later. But I don't want anybody to hear it and you're like, what? I didn't mean it in an offensive way. It's what it was. Maybe I'll give a hint or something. In the future, I'll probably give a hint on what I called it. Maybe I'll give you the actors of the film, and then you'll figure it out. Do we go to the PPS Traffic Center while we're online? I mean, I guess we can. Yeah, okay. All right. So with that, when we get back, I got more news, more views, and some other stuff to get into. But let's get into the PPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
No, Mark is Andre Farrell.
Oh, that's right. Andre Farrell is in it. Hello, Andre Farrell.
And good afternoon. It's Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Plenty of delays out there to deal with if you're traveling on the southbound side of 91. We're congested between exits 35A and 32 as you travel southbound. And then more problems if you're going to use 84 westbound, which is also congested between exits 56 and 46. So a long stretch of delays there. And we have some road work to contend with. If you're traveling northbound on Route 9 in Middletown, that is slow. Northbound Route 9 goes slow again over by Berlin and Route 5. And if you're traveling southbound 91 approaching the Wilbercross Parkway at 691 over by Main Street, there's road work slowing you down there as well. So road work is the name of the game. And we do have big delays in New Haven on the southbound side of the Connecticut Turnpike. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
With a couple of showers and a thunderstorm now, some of those storms capable of producing flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 84. Then tonight, partly cloudy, a thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog late, the low down to 61. Tuesday, patchy fog in the morning, otherwise a mix of clouds and sun, the high of 86. Rather cloudy, very warm and humid for Wednesday with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon, the high up to 89. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Who do I wrestle for? I wrestle on my high school team for Jason Garcia, my fiercest competitor during practice and my biggest fan during meets. I wrestle for my parents who practice what they preach. The importance of hard work, commitment, and dedication. I wrestle for the chance to put our little high school right here in Connecticut on the map.
Wearing the uniform of your high school comes with a big responsibility. Younger kids look up to you. Your teammates count on you. And the reputation of your high school depends on you. Do you have what it takes to participate in a high school sport?
And I wrestle for the glory that is mine when I do my best. That's who I wrestle for.
Got it.
This message presented by the Connecticut Interscholastic Athletic Conference and the Connecticut Association of Athletic Directors.
We are back. It's Reese On The Radio. NewsTalk 1080. WTIC. We got an update on this score yet? Oh, get out of here. Give it to the Boston Red Sox. The score's now 4-1. Blue Jays still up by 3 runs. Well, at least they scored. I mean, maybe they'll bring it all back. Why not? You know? Why not? It's possible. You need to believe. I found this interesting. Talking about the whole Kamala Harris and the Democrats, because everyone is trying to, they want to ride the wave of the Democratic National Convention, into the election. Less than 70 days away. And if you listen to these people, you don't even recognize them. which is the reason why they're so damn phony. You can't recognize these people. You can't trust them. Scott Jennings said it on CNN. The party that was burning the flag was handing out flags at the Democratic National Convention. Tim Walz is Americana, Midwestern, white, likes to shoot. He's a pro-gun guy. He's a manly man, not like those Republicans. He's a real man. He believes in tampon and fourth-grade boy bathrooms. That's a real man. Takes his students to China on his honeymoon. Real man. And the Democrat women, they just love it. They love this new Americana. This woman's name, what is her name? Setmeyer. Tara Setmeyer. She's like Anna Navarro, alleged Republican. But if you listen to her, I mean, like, she seems to be raving about Democrats in a way that I've never seen a Republican do in my life. But anyway, this is her talking about the Americana that happened at the Democratic National Convention. Listen to this.
When you're at a Republican convention, Republicans are always the rah-rah USA, patriotic flag people. Let me tell you, they don't have ownership over that. They don't. And this DNC demonstrated that. There were more cheers of USA and America and all of that than I have seen in a very long time, where people embrace America and what makes America great, even with our flaws.
Woo! Did she say what makes America great? What? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. That was on MSNBC. Embracing the flag and Americana. But does anybody remember a New York Times editorial member named Mara Gay talking about pickup trucks on the 4th of July in Long Island? I do. Or as me and Rama like to say, Pepperidge Farms remembers.
I was on Long Island this weekend visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with, explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which, is also just disturbing because essentially the message was clear. It was, this is my country. This is.
The American flag is troubling. And what was so troubling about it? White people. White people loving America. That's a threat. The sad part about it is let me say this, just because I have to get it out. Do you know how we always laugh at gays for Palestine? Do you know how we always have we always have a great laugh about that, right? It's like the LGBTQ for Palestine. And they go, are you kidding me? If those people to get you, if they were to get a hold of you in Palestine, forget about it. You're never going home, right? Be the last days for you. It's like chickens for KFC. It's like it makes no sense. White folks, no offense, but the Democrat Party hates you. By the virtue of your skin color, they make it clear. You could be a white. Look at it this way. Listen to Tara Setmeyer versus Mara Gay and put up. Be as liberal as you want to be. Let's say you take the marching orders of Tara Setmeyer and say, Democrats, we own America too. We can celebrate America by chanting USA and putting American flags on our property too. They don't own it. Go ahead, try it. Go ahead and put an American flag up. I dare you. Go ahead. Put an American flag up. Put a nice big one up there. Let's see what your other liberal neighbors say about you. Colonizer! We burn the flag around here. We don't put up the flag. I dare you. Who are you kidding? The Democrat Party hates you. That's why they're trying to replace you. They brag about how the party is going to be majority minority. They love that stuff. They can't wait until you thin out the herd. They don't want you to produce any babies. Keep aborting. What do they say when we start talking about pro-life stuff? What do they always say? What do they always say? Those Republicans, they want us to stop abortion because they're concerned about how many white babies are not being born and they know their numbers are dwindling. Yeah, that's what they say. I'm not making that up. You know that's what they say. And so, what do white Democrats do? You guys just immediately go, Yep, we're not going to have babies. I don't want to contribute to the whitening of America. Sorry. I apologize. I'm not supposed to laugh at that. That's inappropriate. You know, Democrats get mad at me all the time when I talk about this stuff. And the only reason why is because if it doesn't apply, you'd let it fly, right? There'd be nothing for you to be angry about. If everything I was saying was just completely unhinged nonsense, you could just ignore it. That's not true. You know it's true. You know it's true. They're running around celebrating. Yes. Babies don't have those. They're a virus. Right? They call it a fetus, a parasite, eating up all the resources. We can't save the planet if you keep procreating. And you'd love it. You're just as bad as gays for Palestine. You're just as bad. It's like whites for Democrats. It's like the same thing. It is. You're the most hated demographic group of your party. What do you think? You're in control? You're not in control. There were people who are telling you you're not even allowed to question people in the party based upon their skin color. You can't argue with them. You can't even say that they're unintelligent or that they make no sense. You can't question anything about them. You know what? I have to do it. I just have to play it. Where's that Karen's for Kamala thing? Where is that audio? I know I have it here. And I know it's no, that's not that one. I gotta find that thing where the woman says, but if you you have to take a beat where you're not allowed to question anything about Kamala Harris. It's kind of sad, but they're going to do it to you. They're going to do worse than that. Once they've got you up against it, when you finally conceded everything, then it's going to be far worse than that. It's going to be really, really bad. I don't know exactly how they're going to respond to it, but, you know. Maybe they'll just become Republicans. I don't know. I'm not sure. But what are you going to do after the fact? Is this it? Is this the piece? This has got to be it. Yeah, here it is.
As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat.
White liberals, you can't, no offense, but you can't come at me talking about how you're so morally superior to me. Or any conservative for that matter. You're always going to have this. This is your template. This is other white people telling you how to speak to BIPOCs. Black and indigenous people of color. We're BIPOCs now.
As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So, do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change.
Now, I can put this in very, very simple terms, white liberals. And there's only one way to do it. What do you think happens when you give full control to BIPOC individuals, where you, God forbid, no longer correct them? Or when you use your white privilege to make sure that their voices are heard and that their needs are met, and you've given them all the power, you've transferred this so-called power from them, from you to them, and they are now in control. What do you think happens? What do you think happens with the more noble group of BIPOCs in that scenario? The people who are clearly more virtuous than you by virtue of their skin color. What do you think happens when you are then become the second-class citizen because of restorative justice? Well, there's only one outcome. Slavery. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something controversial? It isn't. It's not controversial. What do you think people do with absolute power? You're the one who thinks that you're the ones who have all the power, and you should be restoring that justice and restoring that power to to those of us who are less fortunate, who have no political power, who have no real, generational wealth or dignity. You have to even out the playing field, but it never evens out. You increasingly have to keep giving more and more power to the people you think are, I don't know, indigent. And after a while, you've relinquished all of the power. And what do you think happens when someone gets all of that power? It corrupts absolutely. It's generally how it happens, folks. Every fabric of life, some things are just natural in that way. They just are. You think about what that woman said.
As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat.
What's next? What's next? I mean, we've got everything, right? From CRT to DEI. Give everybody your job. Give everybody your position. Newsrooms, television shows, corporations across the country, if not the world. Quotas, ESG. Phase out one group to give power to the next. Why? Because they're clearly going. Once you give that power to, what's considered the lesser of the groups, if you give that power, then all of it will finally, everybody will be fair and equal, and everything will be equitable. And no one would ever take all of that power and then turn around and use it against those who were finally in a weaker position, right? Because that's just not the nature of certain people, right? Based upon their skin color. No one would ever think of using somebody when they got the power to then sort of force them into, indentured servitude. No, nobody with their skin color darker than mine would ever allow that to happen, because they're clearly more noble. That's just not the nature of man. Keep believing that silliness. Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, and she's about to be a DEI president. And once you start telling America that it's okay to just start giving positions or giving things to people based upon their skin color, that it has nothing to do with merit or ability or know-how or knowledge, game is over. And so are you. And everything that you used to believe in is gone. You can feel good about it, but what good is it? That's the only question I have to ask. What good is it? All right, let's find something else about this game. Let's find out what that score is. You got any improvements on this thing? Where the heck are we? Okay, it's still 4-1. It's the bottom of the ninth. All right. Maybe when we come back, we'll be back on terrestrial radio. I got plenty of stuff to get into. Jeez, that came in hot. Let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Farrell.
And good evening. It's Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Look out for a stall on the northbound side of Route 2 heading towards the westbound side of 84. So right around 2W, you're dealing with delays there, heading towards the westbound Buckley Bridge and heading over across the area of exit 51. That's going to be slow all the way into West Hartford, and you're going to need some extra time there for sure. Southbound 91 heading down towards the area of 84 is seeing big delays coming down from Wilson and 291, and road work delays on Route 9 heading up towards Middletown, and southbound over by the Wilbercross Parkway south of 91 heading down towards Wallingford. You're seeing delays there. New Haven checks in slow. Southbound Connecticut Turnpike, southbound Wilbercross heading down towards the area of Hamden is seeing big volume as well. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
There'll be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around. Now, some of those storms will be capable of producing flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 84. Then tonight, partly cloudy with the thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog late. The low down to 61. Tuesday starts with some patchy fog in the morning. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun. A warm day with a high of 86. For Tuesday night, mainly clear and warm. The low only down to 67. Wednesday, rather cloudy. It'll be very warm and humid with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high Wednesday up to 89. Now Thursday, mainly cloudy. It'll be cooler and less humid. The high of 75 with a nice breeze out of the east-northeast. Friday, beautiful day to round out the week with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Pleasant temps, the high of 76. Saturday, low clouds with a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high back to 76. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest. And now, a WTIC News Update.
It's 4:30. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Some heavy thunderstorms moved through portions of Connecticut this afternoon. A flash flood warning remains in effect for Tolland County until 7:15. A severe thunderstorm watch has been posted for the entire state until 7 this evening. Local and state officials were in Oxford this afternoon for the announcement of a $5 million micro grant program to assist those impacted by the...
Been going on the last 3 or 4 games, right? Some of these young players, Durant, he's hoping that hit the other way, that home run, it kind of gets him going again. Abreu's looking forward to his start. So I feel like there's so much youth, whether it's David Hamilton, they're just so busy trying to figure themselves out. But I think the veterans kind of looking around saying, this isn't going to cut it. The way we played the last 10, 15, 20 games, it doesn't matter. Kansas City and Minnesota, they can lose every game the rest of the way. Somebody else will pass us because we got to win a ball game.
So now they did get length from Pavetta. What would you expect the pitching to look like in game 2?
Well, I think Criswell will be in the mix. It's just before the game, they're talking about like a taxi squad. Now, you're allowed to add the 27th player to this game here. You know it's going to be a pitcher. There are options. I guess like Rich Hill could still be in the mix. It could be a guy like Shugart that we saw a while ago. I thought was very impressive for a few innings. So we'll see where they go about it. I'm sure they had 2 or 3 scenarios depending on how much length they got from Nick Pavetta. So hopefully he'll find out here soon enough with some of his moves.
Kenley Jansen is walking out of the Red Sox bullpen into the clubhouse. I think maybe his voice could be used. At the moment, he doesn't have anything to do with the offense, but it is teetering a little bit for the Red Sox. A big-time ball game a little bit later tonight. The Arbella Insurance Foundation is dedicated to striking out cancer by supporting the Jimmy Fund. Red Sox pitchers, I mean, it started with Pivetta, and then it did not necessarily continue with Garcia. But Crawford had 2, so technically today 13 strikeouts, which means $650 donated from Arbella to the Jimmy Fund. And they're here for the Jimmy Fund and here for good. For every 4-bagger the Red Sox hit this year, we will donate $40 to Cars for Kids. Duran hit an opposite field homer, his 8th of the year, and so a donation to Cars for Kids. The Red Sox did get a double from Romy Gonzalez as a pinch hitter, and that means $50 to the American Diabetes Association. Brought to you in part by the Mass Health Connect.
You've been listening to Red Sox Baseball on WTIC News Talk 1080. We now join our regularly scheduled program.
It's time to clear the shelters. Since we started 10 years ago, NBC, Telemundo, and
We're
News
back!
have helped over 1 million pets find their forever families. Let's make our 10th year the biggest yet. Are you ready to find your new best friend? If you want to help but can't adopt, your donations can go a long way. Adopt or donate today. For more information, head to nbcconnecticut.com/cleartheshelters. Brought to you in part by WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC is a station of first.
1 minute.
The first public
It
broadcast
does.
from a moving airplane. It was mid-19.
We back on mainstream.
I know. I just shouted out to everybody
Flying governor
online.
John H. Trumbull and aircraft builder Igor Sikorsky. They were flying Sikorsky's first large passenger plane. As they flew over Hartford, they spoke into a shortwave radio. The signal was then picked up and rebroadcast by WTIC. In 1980, WTIC took to the skies once again when Mike Allen became WTIC's traffic pilot, flying over Greater Hartford and providing live traffic reports every morning and afternoon to WTIC listeners. He also assisted Connecticut State Police with traffic information. He was truly our eye in the sky.
Cristino Kitchens is proud to sponsor this WTIC moment in history. With over 35 years of experience in remodeling, Cristino Kitchens can transform your bathroom or kitchen with stunning beauty as well as functionality. Visit Cristino.
Coming right in.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Don't forget, we got the 5 o'clock focus coming up. And, of course, this is today's is kind of in response to what Ned Lamont is doing today with an emergency fund for those who lost their businesses, if not their homes, in the historic floods over the last weekend, not this past one, the weekend before. But I had a question about it yesterday. I was thinking about it yesterday, and I want to bring it up to you because I had something devastating happen to me when I was 50. And again, just 5 years ago, of my own doing, but my world kind of went into a tailspin, and it changed me forever. And it was a moment in my life when I had to reinvent myself. And at 50, you don't think you can. As many people don't. But I remembered a book someone gave to me a long time ago. And it's a very small book. It's like probably this something like a, what do you call it, coffee table book. But not, coffee table books are generally like a big, giant book, you know, with like art and photos in it and stuff. But this was a coffee table book. It was a very small book. When I say small, in a sense of like size. Wasn't big or deep, but it's just a small book and it had plenty of pages. But what was interesting in the book was, and I know I'm not going to find, I don't have the name of it. I may have to look it up. But it was a book that, in essence, was talking about you're never too old. And the book starts off with talking about famous people and the age they got famous, or the age that they invented the thing that changed their lives, what they became famous for. And there were a list of certain things, a list of certain people that were on there, like certain people who invented the thing that, you know, Amos, what's his name? Famous Amos Cookies, right? Like what age he was at when his cookie company finally took off. In essence, it was saying that whatever you're looking at in life, some people always think that you have to establish yourself at 30 years old, or maybe you need to be 35, or once you hit 40, you're over the hill, you know, things like that. But this book was laying out, you're never too young to find that one moment where you're defined. You can go through life going from job to job to job, living in place to place to place, and finally you get that one thing, that one niche, that one thing that changes your life. So today's 5 o'clock focus is geared towards that, but kind of in a, I don't know, it's sort of a catastrophic way. So stick around for that, because I want to ask the question based upon my story. So after the next half hour, the next break, I'll break it down to you exactly what I'm talking about, what happened to me, and then we'll take your phone calls, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Also, when we get back, I want to play some other stuff as well, because I got some other audio sound bites I want to get to. Now let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Farrow.
And good evening. It's Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Look out for a stall on the northbound side of Route 2 heading towards the westbound side of 84. So right around 2W, you're dealing with delays there, heading towards the westbound Buckley Bridge and heading over across the area of exit 51. That's going to be slow all the way into West Hartford, and you're going to need some extra time there for sure. Southbound 91 heading down towards the area of 84 is seeing big delays coming down from Wilson and 291, and road work delays on Route 9 heading up towards Middletown, and southbound over by the Wilbercross Parkway south of 91 heading down towards Wallingford. You're seeing delays there. New Haven checks in slow. Southbound Connecticut Turnpike, southbound Wilbercross heading down towards the area of Hamden is seeing big volume as well. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
All right, as we head through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening, we'll have a mix of sun and clouds, a couple of showers and heavy thunderstorms. Some of those, while they still could produce some flooding downpours, hail, and damaging wind gusts into the evening, and some patchy fog overnight tonight, the low down to 61. Patchy fog for Tuesday morning. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun, a warm day, the high of 86. Rather cloudy Wednesday, very warm and humid. Watch for some more heavy thunderstorms on Wednesday afternoon, the high up to 89. Thursday, mainly cloudy, cooler, less humid, the high dialed back to 75. And then a beautiful day Friday, a mix of clouds and sun, the high of 76 for us. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Hey everybody, let's go, let's go. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome everyone to West High School Spring Fling.
All right, I've gone through all the tracks. Just move through the beats. Do your thing.
All right, everyone, let's hear it for West High's own Brooke Turner, a.k.a. DJ Hook.
Scratching up my first school dance takes confidence. So getting into college, I've got what it takes. Okay, I went through the practice sessions. I slept good. I feel good.
We will now begin the test. Please take out your pencils.
I got this.
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games. Whatever you're good at, you had the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help us get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
WTIC.
1 minute.
Station of first.
Okay.
Including the first public broadcast from a moving airplane. It was mid-1926, and the broadcast featured the voices of Connecticut's flying governor, John H. Trumbull, and aircraft builder Igor Sikorsky. They were flying Sikorsky's first large passenger plane. As they flew over Hartford, they spoke into a shortwave radio. The signal was then picked up and rebroadcast by WTIC. In 1980, WTIC took to the skies once again when Mike Allen became WTIC's traffic pilot, flying over Greater Hartford and providing live traffic reports every morning and afternoon to WTIC listeners. He also assisted Connecticut State Police with traffic information. He was truly our eye in the sky.
Cristino Kitchens is proud to sponsor this WTIC moment.
And 10.
For 35 years of experience in remodeling, Cristino Kitchens can transform your bathroom or kitchen with stunning beauty as well as functionality. Visit CristinoKitchens.com.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Who is Mary Kennedy? Who is she? I thought we lost all the important Kennedys. Is it me? I don't know. I don't know any of these Kennedys. Who are these new Kennedys? You may have heard over the weekend that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has decided that he is going to ride with Donald Trump. And this has got everybody apoplectic. For what, I have no idea. But I always believe in what Rush Limbaugh said, and that is Democrats will always tell you what they fear most. By ridiculing it and lambasting it and attacking it, they will always show you what they fear most. If it's of no consequence, they ignore it. It's the reason why they ignore most things, right? Their arrogance allows them to ignore everything, but they are all focused on Robert Kennedy. Here's why. They were extremely excited that Robert Kennedy was in the race. Why? Because they tried to convince us that Robert Kennedy's presence in the general election was taking votes from Donald Trump. Weren't we told that? Were we not? Somebody tell me I'm wrong. Oh, he takes more votes from Donald Trump than he does from Joe Biden. We heard that over and over and over again. Didn't matter what Rasmussen said. Didn't matter that Donald Trump was clearly beating Joe Biden in the poll numbers when it was a 5-person race. Even when you threw old nappy head Colin, what's his name? What's his name? Why am I forgetting his name now? Why am I forgetting old Fro? Why am I forgetting Fro's name? Rama, what the heck is Fro's name? Why am I forgetting his name right now? Why would I forget his name now? It's like it's on the tip of my tongue. But now all of a sudden, he's a problem. We know why he's a problem. He was never, ever taking votes from Donald Trump. He was hurting Joe Biden. Always. He was always hurting Joe Biden. And that's why they're scared to death of him now. It would be like Bernie Sanders and the Bernie Bros. Cornel West, thank you. Darn Cornel West, that's his name. They're concerned about him because, again, the fringe that they were all so concerned about, you know, the people who didn't like either candidate, they keep telling us, which, by the way, never mind. I'm not even going to get into that. That's another can of worms I don't need to get into. They were all that concerned. Remember, he was the perfect foil, Robert Kennedy. Perfect foil. They had him on all the networks, talking to him all the time. He called Kamala Harris. Right? Now think about that. You call Kamala Harris. You say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about health and our children's health. And the Kamala Harris campaign said, nah, we're not interested. So he goes, oh, okay, not interested in children's health? Let me give the Trump campaign a call. Hey, buddy, come on down here. Does this sound similar? It is. Let me tell you how. For those of you who don't know if it sounds similar. Rapper Ice Cube, Contract for Black America. He sent it to both campaigns, Biden campaign and the Trump campaign. What did the Biden campaign say? Hey, Ice Cube, rapper, mogul, today was a good day, black entrepreneur. We'll get back to you after we win the election. Trump campaign, Ice Cube, buddy, pal. How you doing? Yeah. Love the big three. Donald Trump would love to come out and see the big three. Why not? Hey, by the way, we love the Contract for Black America. Do you think we can incorporate some of that stuff in our campaign platform? No, you don't mind? Absolutely. Cool. Hey, we'll give you a call. Come on by Mar-a-Lago when you feel like it, if you're in Florida. Same thing with Robert F. Kennedy. They said, Kamala Harris's campaign said, nah, not interested. Okay. He runs over to Donald Trump, says, all right, no problem. You got my support. Now everybody's talking about, and my favorite part about all of this is my favorite part. When you start hearing Democrats and liberal pundits say things like this, why do you people want Robert Kennedy in your camp anyway? Why would you want him to be a part of your campaign? doesn't he damage your campaign? Why would you want him to be and the first thing that runs through my mind is, hey, Democrat, you want to win, don't you? You should be celebrating old fringe wackadoodle Robert F. Kennedy joining the Trump campaign. Why are you so concerned? Why would you be concerned about me embracing him? Why would you be saying stuff like, why would you want to be friends with him? You should be saying, no, go be friends with him. No, hurry up. Get all of his people. Yeah. We like you guys over there. But you hear Democrats talking about it in such, like, concerning ways for Republicans. Why would y'all want to be with him? I wouldn't talk to him. He's crazy. Y'all don't know what y'all doing. I wouldn't be friends with him. All right, whatever. You gonna do what you gonna do, girl. I'm poking fun at the guy over at CNN. That's the way he talks. Just the way he talks. Let's go to the phones. 860-522-WTIC. George is in St. Louis. Hello, George.
Hi, Reese. Did you see this United Van Line study of where people, what states people are moving out of and what they're moving into?
Oh, you know what? I love those because U-Haul actually puts that out every year. I didn't know there was a United Van Line puts one out too.
Yeah, take this as the performance of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
They cited reasons for moving out of states with high taxes, a much lower standard of living. And as such, corporations and companies moved out of these states, and they drained the population as well. You know, people move where the work is, obviously.
Right, of course.
So California, New York, Illinois, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts are the top 5
that are leaving.
These are the blue states that have failed governments, that have failed the community,
Mm-hmm.
and had driven companies and corporations out of those states.
Right.
And the states that people are moving to is Texas, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia. That's the top 5. But this is all Trump has to do is cite the failure of the Democrat Party and high taxes, and really the fact they discourage corporations
and businesses
from functioning. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? You listen to me. You have no idea, George. You are literally like ushering in today's 5 o'clock focus, because a lot of what you just said has a lot, because we know that businesses are leaving Connecticut, as are people leaving the state, in droves because of anti-business policies, and especially because of higher taxes that are in the state of Connecticut.
Well, Reese, here's the thing. Here's the rub.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to get this information from the left-wing media.
Right.
They're not going to tell you that the Democrats are a failed party, and their whole economic programs are complete failures. They're not going to. The media is not going to tell you that. But you can get that information from this United Van Line survey. That'll tell you what the actual performance is that's going on out there.
Yeah, but this is, that's an industry thing, because United Van Lines, and like I said, U-Haul does the same list every year, telling exactly, because, I worked at the corporate side of U-Haul, and I was what's called a traffic control manager. And our job as a traffic control manager is to know where the highest rates to move out of a state into another, and where our equipment was ending up to actually lower rates to get that equipment to other places around the country. That's how that traffic control management works. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. Those things are industry, and they're illustrative of how people move in and around the state, because it's proprietary for a lot of moving companies and self-moving organizations like U-Haul. Thank you, George. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. Let's go to James in Newington. Hey, James, you're on with Reese on the Radio.
Hey, thank you so much. I want to just pick up on what that wonderful gentleman just spoke about as far as taking responsibility for the Afghanistan disaster.
Yeah.
you and I know that the media loves to do anniversary stories.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when there's a screw up. And why is it? People, I'm going to give you the base numbers. They said 13 Americans died. Let's forget about I don't want to forget, but 120 Afghans. But there were at least 19 military servicemen and women, honorable serving, who were horrifically wounded.
That's right.
Where is the recovery stories that we would normally expect to see? Like, we are meeting in Kansas with Marjorie, whatever, who served and had her arm blown off. Where are the stories of what is happening to those people? And I don't just mean this because I want to help the Republican Party shine the light on the idea of Kamala Harris being commander-in-chief is beyond laughable.
Right.
But how can we help these people if we don't, there's all these fundraisers that are done today to help veterans get wheelchair ramps and better access in their hometowns. If the media doesn't want to shine a light on these honorable veterans who suffered horrific injuries, how can anyone help?
Exactly. And it's funny because you can't, I was just thinking of something, and they're not, I don't even know if they're a sponsor here, but I don't want to not mention them because what you're talking about is very emblematic of our society in general. Places like Tunnel for Towers or places like Wounded Warriors. Think about the places where those guys have to advertise and don't advertise. I look at that all the time. I watch those groups right there do a lot of work for wounded veterans. And we're talking about first responders who have been injured recently in doing things like getting them mortgage-free homes and things like that, right? Getting them services. Will you look at the places where they don't advertise or people who have no interest in allowing them to advertise to get the word out to their audience how they can help? That stuff is lost on me because I find it amazing, as you just said, how do we get the word out when even organizations like that who pay for advertising can't get on a CNN, an ABC, or an NBC? The only place I can find them is on Fox News and Newsmax. I just find that alarming.
Absolutely. And if I could bring up one more point,
of course,
this. We left behind so much military hardware, over $30 billion of hardware, which I believe Trump was planning on transferring to Poland as a NATO ally. Remember, he was going to have Poland build a base there, and the Poland government was going to build it 100% themselves. And Trump said to Germany, you're the most powerful economy in Europe. You're not paying your fair share to NATO. And if something goes wrong, the fact that you're only paying 1 to 1.3% of GDP instead of 2% or higher is going to really hurt NATO and really hurt you. So what happened? The Democrats blocked him from moving the soldiers from Germany, 6,500 to train. Only 1,500 got to be ever be moved.
Right.
And he never got to move that equipment, the howitzers for artillery, the Bradley fighting vehicles, all this stuff. Imagine the Ukraine situation today. If
Interesting.
Trump had been successful in having that base open in Poland with $20 billion of land-based artillery and troop movement carriers, etc. Maybe Putin calculus is he doesn't even invade.
Right, exactly, because then he's saying, because Ukraine in essence has all of that weaponry at the ready just over the border. Such a good point.
Absolutely.
Such a good point.
How do we get the Republican Party to get this on the news and focus on Kamala as commander in disaster?
Yeah.
Because they do not want to bring that up at all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Reese.
My pleasure, James. Thank you so much for that. That's a great call. That was a damn good call. All right. So don't forget, folks, we got the 5 o'clock focus coming up. There's a very important thing. When I was finally out of U-Haul, and I'm talking about them way too much, but when I was finally out of U-Haul, I, had to go and find a new job. I worked at Nissan for a little while. That didn't pan out very well. I'll never forget when I got fired. It was the most humiliating moment of my life. But I got fired from there, and I had to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I'm 50. How do I reinvent myself? So a friend of mine talked me into starting a moving company, which I did. In the first year, I didn't do great, but the second year, I did gangbusters. Turns out the second year, actually the first year, I did gangbusters. The second year, I did even better, and it was the COVID year, 2019. And it was an amazing thing, but my entire life changed after that. I learned how to hustle. So the 5 o'clock focus today is my question. If your company just laid you off and you have to start your own business to survive, and you're in Connecticut with the drowning of businesses that are happening in this state, if you had to, what business would you start in order to protect and survive in this economy in Connecticut? If you had to, your company is no longer. What skills do you have? What business would you begin today? If you had to, do it all over again and start from scratch. And it doesn't matter what age you are. You're 60, you're 65, you're still working. Everything has gone straight to the potty. And you've got to go out there and hustle to keep the mortgage paid or the rent paid or the car note paid or the kid's school. What business would you start if you had to do it all over again? And would you do it in Connecticut? And if you had to do it in Connecticut, what would you do? All right, that's the question. 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Now, let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Farrell.
A very good evening to you and to you behind the wheel. We have big delays. It's Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Westbound 84 approaching exit 50. Heading across the Connecticut River is super slow. Plus, we have that ramp problem. 2W heading west onto the westbound side of 84. We had a stall there. Looks like it's close to getting out of there, but it is still causing residual delays in the area. Westbound 691 bumper to bumper heading towards 84. If you're traveling on the southbound side of 95, very slow into New Haven from Madison down to that area of New Haven, and then even the Wilbur-Cross Parkway is seeing big delays heading south of Hamden, and then more trouble as you pass Route 8 in Shelton. And the southbound side of 91, past 91, still seeing a lot of volume. All right. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
There'll be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around. Now, some of those storms will be capable of producing flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 84. Then tonight, partly cloudy with a thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog late. The low down to 61. Tuesday starts with some patchy fog in the morning. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun. A warm day with a high of 86. For Tuesday night, mainly clear and warm. The low only down to 67. Wednesday, rather cloudy. It'll be very warm and humid with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high Wednesday up to 89. Now Thursday, mainly cloudy. It'll be cooler and less humid. The high of 75 with a nice breeze out of the east-northeast. Friday, beautiful day to round out the week with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Pleasant temps, the high of 76. Saturday, low clouds with a thunderstorm in spots of the afternoon. The high back to 76. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Get a head start to your day with WTIC News Talk 1080. Listen to us live on the Odyssey app before you even hit the road. Get the breakdown on the biggest news stories that Connecticut is talking about. To get started, download the Odyssey app and search for WTIC News Talk 1080. WTIC is 99 and kicks off a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford, an Odyssey station.
5 o'clock, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Local and state officials were in Oxford today for the announcement of a $5 million micro grant program to assist those impacted by the deadly flooding in southwestern Connecticut last weekend. The plan is to make up to $25,000 available for small businesses with under 100 employees, available for cleanup and other flood-related issues. David Rice lost one of his cleaning businesses in Oxford.
A river came through the building, and we lost everything.
Former State House Minority Leader Themis Claridis' family owns the Claridis Village Plaza.
We are a family business, but they are our family. And we have done everything and will continue to do everything we can to help them build back better and stronger, but we need help, and we need it yesterday.
The application process will go live September 3rd. Information can be found at the website decdctrecovery@ct.gov. A town in Massachusetts is closing its parks and fields at night over concerns about the mosquito-borne triple E virus.
The concern is about Eastern equine encephalitis, or triple E. A man in his 80s has gotten the virus, the first human case in Massachusetts since 2020.
Now they're closing parks from dusk to dawn, and
going to affect the kids' sports and everything. I really don't think it's that big of a deal.
There are no vaccines or treatment for EEE. Eastern equine encephalitis kills nearly a third of the people who get infected, and many survivors have long-term neurological problems.
CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula. In Waterbury, police have made a fourth arrest in connection with a November 2023 homicide. Police are now charging 20-year-old Jada Ellis of Waterbury as an additional suspect in connection with the shooting death last November of Joseph Zavala. He was 18 at the time of his death. Ellis faces charges of conspiracy and weapons in a motor vehicle. The respective presidential candidates are now squabbling over the logistics of the planned September 10th debate. Former President Trump's objecting to a proposed change in the rules.
They're trying to change it. The truth is they're trying to get out of it because she doesn't want to debate. She's not a good debater. She's not a smart person. She doesn't want to debate.
The Harris camp wants to keep the mics unmuted throughout the debate. Connecticut raising awareness of International Overdose Day coming up this Saturday. They held an event earlier today. The State Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services Commissioner Nancy Navarrete explains its significance.
We are here today not only to remember those no longer with us, but to reaffirm our collective determination to further prevent tragedy.
Anyone seeking treatment can visit ctaddictionservices.com or call the hotline at 800-563-4086. An exchange of attacks between Israel and Hezbollah Sunday has not been followed up, at least not so far. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan.
We have been concerned about the conflict escalating into an all-out regional war since October 7th, and we have worked round the clock with partners and allies to avert that outcome.
Wall Street, the Dow finished up 65 points to a record 41,000. The NASDAQ was down 152. S&P gave back 17 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses.
1 minute.
They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because
you're a little bit excited now that we're back off.
Compound daily, making it
Huh?
Are you excited we're back on now?
Yeah, it's always a nightmare.
I know you hate it. I know it's in your voice, man.
Tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're listening to
Coming right in.
Filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
5 o'clock focus today. Your business is shattered. Your career gone. You've got to start anew. What do you do? You're starting your own business. You have to start over again. What would be the thing that you would do in order to maintain your livelihood? And I'll never forget it. I don't really tell that story often, but I don't want to say down on my luck, but I was in a bad way, and I had to find a new job. I had gotten very used to my career. I had to do something new. I had to figure out something. And a good friend of mine, thank God for Julie Hammond, my best friend, who literally took my credit card and went online and created my business card and my T-shirts right there in front of me. She said, give me your credit card. And she said, and it only happened, this is how it happened. A woman walked into a company that we were working together, and a woman walked in and said, hey, do you know anybody who can help me move? I'll pay you $100. And I went, okay, I'll help you. And I helped her move, get her stuff out of the truck. I was there in and out 15, 20 minutes, made $100. And she took that and took my credit card and she even created the name. Well, no, I created the name, but she created the colors. But, yeah, She created them, and next thing you know, that's what I was doing. I was doing it part-time from, what was it, June 8th of 2019 was our first day in the business. And then that year, what was it, from June 8th to that year, I pulled in after, like, I paid everybody, made about $37,000 that half of the year. Not that bad. Not that bad. Next year, 6 figures in 2020. Couldn't believe it. My entire life was changed. I was like, whoa, I would have never thought of that. Never thought even it was possible. Wasn't even a business that, an industry that I was familiar with, but because I had worked at U-Haul and I'd kind of heard all of the horrible stories, I just took the know-how that I knew from that organization and put it in a moving business in a small company with only about, at the time, started the first 2 years with just 3 employees if you include myself. And we just did jobs for 2 years with just the 3 of us, 3-man staff. That was it. Did free consultations, put ourselves up in Google, and the rest was history. Company's been running for 5 years now. But it was sort of like a desperation moment. And like I said, in some places, it always depends on where you live. In Connecticut, I'm not going to lie, it's not probably the best place for businesses right now. But if you had to, if it was all over and you had to start over, what would you do? What would be the industry you join? And Entrepreneur, by the way, Entrepreneur Magazine has a thing on their website where they actually break down 65 different careers that you can start right now on your own. I'm going to list a couple of them when we get back. But let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Ferro, and then we'll lay some of those out. But I'd like to hear from you. What if you had to, what business would you start? 860-522-WTIC. Let's get to the Traffic Center.
To you and to you behind the wheel, we have big delays. It's Andre Ferro from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Westbound 84 approaching exit 50, heading across the Connecticut River is super slow. Plus, we have that ramp problem, 2W heading west onto the westbound side 84. We had a stall there. Looks like it's close to getting out of there, but it is still causing residual delays in the area. Westbound 691 bumper to bumper heading towards 84. If you're traveling on the southbound side of 95, very slow into New Haven from Madison down to that area of New Haven, and then even the Wilbercross Parkway is seeing big delays heading south of Hamden, and then more trouble as you pass Route 8 in Shelton. And the southbound side of 91, passing 291, still seeing a lot of volume there. Traffic and weather together on the 8s. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
It continues partly cloudy with a thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog overnight, the low down to 61. Then patchy fog Tuesday morning. Mix of clouds and sun for the afternoon. Pleasant temps, a high of 86. Wednesday, rather cloudy. It'll be warmer and more humid. A heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon on Wednesday, the high of 89. Thursday, mainly cloudy, cooler, and less humid. The high on Thursday of 75. Beautiful day to round out the week on Friday with a mix of clouds and sun, the high of 76. Humid on Saturday. Watch for a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon. The high back to 76. Right now, Waterbury at 73. Danbury at 82. It's 75 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Need good tech advice?
Must be a computer error.
Tune into the Gold.com award-winning Computer Talk with Tab. Saturday mornings 9 to 11 on WTIC News Talk 1080. Eric Semmel and Dennis Howland of Tab Computer Systems will keep you updated with tech news you can use and answer your technology questions live on the air. Miss a program? Be sure to subscribe to the podcast and tune in from anywhere via the Odyssey app. Computer Talk with Tab, Saturday mornings on WTIC News Talk 1080. Tune in to WTIC News Talk 1080 for Healthy Rounds, hosted by Dr. Anthony Alessi, Saturday mornings 11 till noon. Learn from the top experts in their fields about the latest medical findings and call in with your medical question. Healthy Rounds is dedicated to providing accurate and timely health information and is sponsored by Hartford Healthcare, Ratchford Eye Center, St. Francis Hospital, Covaris, and Yukon Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Healthy Rounds, Saturday mornings 11 till noon on WTIC News Talk 1080 and WTIC.com.
WTIC is a station
Woman.
including the first
Fume,
public
that's a good one.
broadcast from a moving airplane. It was mid-1926, and the broadcast featured the voices of Connecticut's flying governor, John H. Trumbull, and aircraft builder Igor Sikorsky. They were flying Sikorsky's first large passenger plane. As they flew over Hartford, they spoke into a shortwave radio. The signal was then picked up and rebroadcast by WTIC. In 1980, WTIC took to the skies once again when Mike Allen became WTIC's traffic pilot, flying over Greater Hartford and providing live traffic reports every morning and afternoon to WTIC listeners. He also assisted Connecticut State Police with traffic information. He was truly our eye in the sky.
Cristino Kitchens is proud to sponsor this WTIC moment in history with over
10.
experience
Got
in
it.
remodeling. Cristino Kitchens can transform your bathroom or kitchen with stunning beauty as well as functionality. Visit CristinoKitchens.com.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's the 5 o'clock focus. It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man. I got plenty of these ideas to start off with a business, but they're not. Look, they're not easy, and they fail miserably in the beginning. They're slow going. I remember one February. Oh, that was a rough February. I'll tell you this story. This is great just because, and those of you who've started your own business, like a lot of you have a private company, what the deal is with this. But I remember, I want to say the second year, and it was my second February. Yeah, my second February. So I started business on June 8th of 2019. February of 2020 was gangbusters. My phone never stopped ringing. So many people were moving in and about the country, trying to get away from whatever rules or guidelines there were, because of COVID lockdowns. Everybody was getting out. In fact, living in the D.C. area, every one of the people that were there were trying to get the hell out of that region. And Ralph Northam was the governor, so it was a mess. And they wanted to get out. Some of my clients would drive down to Florida, and they got stopped at the state line in Georgia. In some cases, they couldn't even get to their new home in a lot of cases. I had a case, of course, with a client who was in New York City who rode the train. I remember telling this story recently where she had to hand the police her prescription to go get her narcotics because she was going through cancer treatment. And I guess the treatment that she had to get was a narcotic, and they couldn't mail it to her. So she had to go there and pick it up physically. And she had to give her paperwork to the police officer. Like, 1930s Germany. Let me see your papers. And so we had a lot of people who were moving out of the situation they were in. So we were gangbusters. So the next February was really, really slow. I'll never forget telling my mom, I was like, I'm a little worried. The end of the month's coming up, and, it's a short month. I really didn't believe I was going to be able to make my rent. That's how tough it was. That month, really tough. And I was worried. Because it was, the winter months are slow, and people aren't moving, and it was tough. And sure enough, out of nowhere, bang, 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 like maybe the 12th, all of a sudden, phone starts ringing off the hook. We're doing great, and then it's not a problem anymore. So it's really rough. And the companies that people are starting, according to this Entrepreneur magazine, listen to some of these that are on the list. I'm not going to lie. These are not companies that I would have started, probably because for me personally, I don't think that I had the wherewithal or the understanding of the industry to do it. But here they are. In no particular order, but they've listed them as 1 down to 65. I'm not going to read all 65, but here are a few. Accounting and tax services was number 1. Business consulting is another. Financial planning and advising. I kind of feel like that was the same as the one before. Buying a franchise. They say that you can buy a franchise, and they're saying that many franchises can be launched for less than $10,000. If you have that kind of dough, okay. Notary public services. General construction. Landscaping. In fact, I know a couple of kids who worked for me who actually, one of my employees now has a little landscaping company on the side. It's called Just in Time. Yes, Justin is his name. Yes. Garden works. House painting is another thing. I always thought that was an old thing that no one does anymore. That nobody does house painting anymore, but apparently that is still a thing now. House painting, carpentry is another one that you can get into. Electrical work. And I think that even if your company has sort of the case of the unemployment line, that if you're an electrician and you have tools, I don't see why you wouldn't get a business card immediately, especially if you're a licensed electrician, right? Or unless there's something about that I don't know, like whether or not you have to go only through your company to get a license to work as an electrician, but that I guess states vary. Moving services was number 11. Creative work business ideas, sort of like content and editorial contracting. Graphic design is another one, something I could never get into. Fume says that new business ideas. Start an NGO, this is a non-government organization, dedicated to aiding the newcomers and skim hundreds of thousands of dollars in government grants. But can we do something a little less illegal, Fume? Just a little less illegal. Web development is another one that's on the list. Marketing and public relations. I actually used to do that for a little while privately. That was a small little business I had. And it was okay. It was getting, magazine articles for rappers and R&B singers, but it made good money. It made good money, at least for a year. Photography is another one, but everybody's a photographer now. I mean, all things considered, you have cell phones and all that good stuff. Videography is another good one. It says if you do quality work behind the camera and edit footage well, there are plenty of opportunities for videography. Audio editing is another one that people can do. A laundromat, Michael B. says. Yeah, laundromat is good. But you got to, I've seen some laundry. There's a laundromat in my old neighborhood, and the guy's a nice enough guy, and he's got, nice machines. They're all new, but he's never crowded. Like, it's never, you know what I mean? It's like, it's never overrun by, I kind of feel like everybody today, no matter what walk of life you are, you have a washer and dryer in your house. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's not a big thing anymore. Social media management, of course, social media, that makes sense. Machining, Michael A. says. Can you be a little more specific? I've heard that term before, but again, I'm maybe a little ignorant to the term. If you could describe exactly what machining is, I'm assuming it has to do with machines, but I don't know exactly. If you could explain that. To the phones we go, 860-522-WTIC, Jefferson Marlboro. Hello, Jeff. You're home with Reese on the Radio.
Hey, Reese, that was damn quick.
What was?
I just called in.
Oh, okay. Well, I just saw you on the thing, so I didn't even realize. I thought it was there for a minute. So what do you got? If you had to start a business today, your industry is done, and you had, I guess, another skill that you could come up with, what would be the job?
I would like to start a vending machine business.
My wife's big on that. My wife's big on that.
A lot of places, you got foot traffic, put a vending machine in there. You can put all kinds of snacks in there, including healthy ones, gluten-free ones, all this stuff. I think it's big time.
Yeah, it's interesting because that what you just said is the key part, right? Because you can make these vending machines serve any particular item that you want to, because they are not exclusive to any particular product, right? And the other,
it used to be like sugary pops and stuff like that, but now you can put all kinds of healthy drinks in there, gluten-free stuff. You can put anything you want in there.
Another thing that my wife noticed is that you can buy them on eBay and on, I guess, Amazon sells them as well. But the beauty part about it is that you can buy refurbished or used ones or certified, certified owned sort of versions of it? In other words, somebody who owned one is just selling one on the cheap, I should say.
Yeah, and anything in Connecticut, like you have to have a vendor's license, and then you have to have like a special. I've looked into it a little bit. A more special license. A more special license for if you're going to serve something that has like milk or yogurt in it, you know, like a yogurt covered granola bar or something. But yeah, like a vending machine business, I think would be a great place for someone to, if you're just going to like say to heck with my former career and start over. I've even looked into it, like I said, and it seems like something that could fly.
It seems like, you know what, and I think the beauty of that particular industry is that it is kind of low maintenance, if you think about it, right?
You don't have to have a ton of employees. You can go fill up the machines yourself.
Exactly.
Even if you have like a small clientele, like say you have 3 or 4 businesses, you could handle that yourself.
Yeah, and the beauty of it is that you can buy, because you know what I noticed? I saw this, and I don't mean this in a bad way, Jeff, but I saw this and I thought it was interesting. So there's a guy who's in our neighborhood who buys, he sells like candies, treats, and potato chips and all that other stuff. And he did something I thought it was underhanded, but it's not illegal for him to do, I found out. But he goes to Costco and he buys a truckload of stuff and he just sells them at the store. And I'm like, you can do that?
As long as they're labeled for individual sale with the nutrition information, that's legal.
Yeah, I never knew that. And I was like, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? But the beauty of it is that he doesn't have to go through a supplier, which I'm sure that's arduous. You know, you have to go through so many other, sort of loopholes with that. But I've never heard any crackdowns on these things because they're actually buying the products from a store, from an actual store. But I saw them do it. And the first time I ever seen him inside the Costco, the first thing ran through my mind was like, gosh, dude, like who would feed their family this kind of stuff? It's like all of these things with potato chips. I'm like, do your kids eat all of this junk food? And he looks at me and he goes, oh no, this is for my store. And I went, oh, and now it makes sense. And I'm like, that you can do the same thing with the vending machine.
Yeah, convenience store right down the street from my work, and I work in Marlboro also. Yeah, they do the same thing, and you can get that from Costco or Sam's Club or something. As long as they're labeled with the nutritional information, you can resell them.
That it is, and you know what? I don't even know I'm wondering what the margins are. Now that I think about it, because the margins have got to be pretty big.
I mean, you remember when we were kids, you'd walk down the mall or something like that, and you'd have those, put 25 cents in a machine. You'd get a little rubber guy.
Right.
I mean, that thing must have cost 2 cents to make, and it cost us a quarter to get. So you're making money.
Yeah, the margins, like I said, the margins make sense because if you could buy, if you buy a $20 box of like those little mini potato chips, and you're selling the potato chips $1.50, forget about it. You're killing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you so much for the call. But John Beckman says that being a private investigator would be fun. Why? I don't know whether or not I'd want to be sneaking around doing stuff like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. It seems kind of sexy, John Beckman, private eye. I mean, it sounds kind of cool. You put that on your business card. That's a pretty good idea. So Michael A. says, I have a few small machine tools. It's like milling machine, metal lathe, and surface grinder to use to fabricate parts for the general public. Everyone has something that has a broken part on something that you can't buy off the shelf. Susan Moore says, a dog walker. I know a guy who really does, let me say this to you, Susan. Dog walking is lucrative because people spend money on their dogs. And talk about an industry that is growing. I've seen more kids in our neighborhood with vans that they have fashioned into dog grooming places inside, like they fix the van up to have a little washing station with the, clipping the nails and stuff. And they're young girls. young girls doing this. And it's so, I mean, I can't lie. It's industrious. You look at that and you just go, and you can do that forever. Forever. And the prices that they charge are insane. I'm not going to lie. But if you love your dog, which a lot of people do, and some people love them more than humans, they are willing to pay that price. Roland, do you have any pets?
No, I don't have any pets.
Would you? But you would never consider any.
No, I have my daughter's enough. I don't need anything else to have to take care of and watch and wash and walk.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, I don't understand how anyone, the prices to which people pay for their pets is astonishing. And dog walkers, you're right, Susan, make a good living doing the whole dog walking thing. Appliance repair is also on the list, by the way. So you got appliance repair, bicycle repair. I guess that makes sense. A lot of people are riding bikes now, especially if you're living in like New York City and, you're in a metropolis, bike riding is kind of a normal thing. Boat cleaning is another thing. Car cleaning and detailing, that's growing everywhere I look. A lot of young people are doing that. Zapper Creek says placing vending machines are the problem. Oh, placing them are the problem. Plazas charge high rents and don't make it worth the while. I've had 32 gumball machines, and it was a nightmare placing them. Wow. And he says that dog poop pickers pay well, too. I did not know that. That's interesting to know. Let's take a break. Let's go to the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Farrow.
Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Still seeing big volume on the southbound side of 91 heading down towards exit 3 as you approach Route 1 and heading down towards the 95 ride in New Haven. The Wilbercross Parkway is seeing big volume from Route 40 all the way down towards Orange, and the Milford Parkway is going to be slow in the northbound direction as well. Northbound 9 in Middletown, southbound also in Middletown seeing some big volume. We have that long-term road work. The westbound side of 72 heading towards 84 in Plainville. But the biggest delay would be the westbound side of 84 across the Connecticut River and heading towards exit 50 and approaching exit 40 in West Hartford. You're going to need a lot of time there. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
There'll be a couple of showers and a thunderstorm around. Now, some of those storms will be capable of producing flash flooding, hail, and localized damaging wind gusts. The high of 84. Then tonight, partly cloudy with the thunderstorm in spots early this evening. Then some patchy fog late. The low down to 61. Tuesday starts with some patchy fog in the morning. Otherwise, a mix of clouds and sun. A warm day with a high of 86. For Tuesday night, mainly clear and warm. The low only down to 67. Wednesday, rather cloudy. It'll be very warm and humid with a heavy thunderstorm in the afternoon. A high Wednesday up to 89. Now Thursday, mainly cloudy. It'll be cooler and less humid. The high of 75 with a nice breeze out of the east-northeast. Friday, beautiful day to round out the week with a mix of clouds and sunshine. Pleasant temps, the high of 76. Saturday, low clouds with a thunderstorm in spots for the afternoon. The high back to 76. I'm meteorologist Jason Catarina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva. Governor Lamont is authorizing $5 million for the start of a micro grant program for small businesses that were damaged or destroyed as a result of the historic flooding last week. Small businesses and nonprofits in Fairfield, New Haven, and Litchfield counties with fewer than 100 employees will be eligible for up to $25,000 for cleanup, equipment replacement, and replenishing lost revenue. Severe thunderstorm and flood warnings were up for parts of the state today. Still have a flash flood warning up for Tolland County as heavy storms rolled through today. Teenagers dead following a crash Sunday night in Manchester. It was around 8:30. A vehicle driven by 19-year-old Michaela Theracew struck a tree westbound on Buckland Hills Drive. Police are still investigating. No injuries in Granby after police there say over 24 shots were discharged during some type of neighbor dispute. This happened on Morningside Drive on Sunday. Under arrest is 30-year-old Stephen Gilbert. He's charged with threatening, reckless endangerment, and other offenses. Campaigns of Vice President Harris and former President Trump are now arguing in advance of their upcoming debate next month over whether the microphones should be muted, except for the candidate whose turn it is to speak. Wall Street Dow up 65 points today. NASDAQ was down 152, and the S&P down 17. Toronto beat the Red Sox 4-1, first of two. Second game right after the news here, 6:10 is the pregame. The Yankees are in Washington to face the Nationals tonight. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes? Their age? The way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Everybody, let's go. Welcome everyone to West High School Spring Fling.
Alright, I've gone through all the tracks, just move through the beats. Do your thing.
All right, everyone, let's hear it for West High's own Brooke Turner, a.k.a. DJ Hook.
Scratching at my first school dance takes confidence. So getting into college, I've got what it takes. Okay, I went through the practice sessions, I slept good, I feel good.
We will now begin the test. Please take out your pencils.
I got this.
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games.
20 seconds.
That you
Got
have
it.
the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help us get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education.
Going right in after the drops.
And Council.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man. So many businesses that you could start, according to Entrepreneur Magazine. So if you're interested in checking it out, just go to entrepreneur.com. And it says starting a business is actually where you can go. There's a couple of others in here. If you're interested in them, try this one on for size. Jewelry making and repair. I've ragged on plenty of ex-girlfriends who started that one. Property and real estate business ideas. In essence, getting into real estate. Property management, which, by the way, now I'm actually starting to think about that. Property management might be something that I want to get a family member of mine interested in, because then I can hire them to sort of manage a property of mine. I think I'm going to do that. But I didn't realize that you could start that off. It says many people manage properties as a side hustle. Maybe you have a vacation home that you use for short-term rentals, or perhaps you have an additional property with a long-term lease. If you want to dive in full-time, you can acquire multiple properties and be a full-time landlord. In this case, in the case of rental units, your job will be to make sure the property is running smoothly, ensure tenants are paying their rent and honoring their lease terms, and to be available in the case of any issues. So, yeah, if you want to start that. Cleaning service is another one. I always thought that was good, starting a cleaning company. By the way, I tried to introduce that to my wife when we first started talking, and she looked at me like I had 7 heads. I was, hey, we should start maybe a cleaning business together. It's like, I'm not cleaning anybody else's house. And I went, yeah, but, we could then hire people and, start. Yeah, but I have to start cleaning. No, not my wife. Fume says become a professional protester and get some insurance money. No. Can you come up with anything reasonable, Fume? Nothing, really? What's another one here? Professional organizing. Hey, there you go, Fume, right down your alley. Right there. Professional organizing. That's on there. It's funny that how you would come up with that. As I was coming up to number 34. Home inspection. That's another one. Home energy auditing. I don't know if I don't even think anybody would want to join that. I almost feel like that's a job that you apply for, not one that you start. Interior decorating and design. I've got plenty of ex-girlfriends who did that too. They all think that they're interior decorators, don't they? Don't they? Event planning. That's what the kid wanted to do. The girl one wanted to do that one. Wedding planning. That's another one. I don't know whether that almost seems, I don't know. Okay. Vacation planning, private coaching, and apparently this is private coaching for helping kids with golf, tennis, running, baseball, or pitching. John Beckman, you could teach golf. There's, of course, personal trainer, nutrition advising, life coaching. Everybody thinks that they're a life coach. Career coaching. Okay. Tutoring, obviously. Private chef service. Bread and breakfast. Airbnb. Catering. That's another one. I know a lot of people do catering now, too. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Andre Farrell.
Andre Farrow from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center. Let's go right out to 84 westbound. Very congested still between exits 56 and 46. And look out for slowdowns on the southbound side of the Wilbur Cross from exit 67S to 62. More trouble on the southbound side of 95 between 48 and 39. And the northbound side is slow, 54 to exits 55. Still seeing delays on the Route 9 ride northbound in Middletown. That's all due to volume and that long-term construction in the area. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk, 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, we continue with a severe thunderstorm watch in effect till 7 p.m. this evening. Remember, a watch means conditions are favorable for an event to happen. A warning means it is imminent or ongoing. So a thunderstorm in spots as we head through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours here. Some of those could be on the strong to severe side. Then as we head through later on tonight, we'll be looking at a mild night, a bit humid as well. Partly cloudy, patchy fog, the low down to 61. Some patchy fog Tuesday morning, a mix of clouds and sun, pleasant with the high of 86. Wednesday, rather cloudy, very warm and humid. Watch for a heavy thunderstorm again in the afternoon, a high of 89. Wednesday, cooler as we head toward the end of the week, mainly cloudy Thursday, less humid though, the high 75. Friday, nice looking day, mix of clouds and sun, the high of 76 to round out the week here for us. So very pleasant at the end of the week. Right now, it is 82 in Danbury, Bridgeport, 73, 75 in Hartford. And I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Everybody, let's go, let's go. Ho, ho, ho. Welcome, everyone, to West High School Spring Fling.
All right, I've gone through all the tracks. Just move through the beats. Do your thing.
All right, everyone, let's hear it for West High's own Brooke Turner, a.k.a. DJ Hook.
Scratching at my first school dance takes confidence. So getting into college, I've got what it takes. Okay, I went through the practice sessions. I slept good. I feel good.
We will now begin the test. Please take out your pencils.
I got this.
We're all good at something. Maybe it's breakdancing or skateboarding or video games. Whatever you're good at, you had the skills to make it happen. And those same skills will help us get to college. Visit knowhowtogo.org to learn what you should be doing right now to prepare for college. Start taking the steps at knowhowtogo.org.
I've got what it takes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
WTIC is the station of firsts, including the first public broadcast from a moving airplane. It was mid-1926, and the broadcast featured the voices of Connecticut's flying governor, John H. Trumbull, and aircraft builder Igor Sikorsky. They were flying Sikorsky's first large passenger plane. As they flew over Hartford, they spoke into a shortwave radio. The signal was then picked up and rebroadcast by WTIC. In 1980, WTIC took to the skies once again when Mike Allen became WTIC's traffic pilot, flying over Greater Hartford and providing live traffic reports every morning and afternoon to WTIC listeners. He also assisted Connecticut State Police with traffic information. He was truly our eye in the sky.
Cristino Kitchens is proud to sponsor WTIC moment in history with over 35 years of experience in remodeling. Cristino Kitchens can transform your bathroom or kitchen with stunning beauty as well as functionality. Visit CristinoKitchens.com.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we're back. Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. About to put a pin in this. Thank you all for joining us. I know you don't like it when we're online and we get pushed aside, but that's okay. We'll be back to do it all over again tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm going to do something new. I talked about this on the Sunday show. There are a lot of places in or around Connecticut that a lot of people don't know about or go to. There are a few that I've checked out, and I want to kind of focus not just on businesses. It's not that. Fall is coming, and it's my favorite time of year. I like the spring, don't get me wrong, but I love the fall. And New England in the fall is the best. I don't know about you, but I love it. I know a lot of people in Connecticut love it, but I love New England in the fall. It's just beautiful. It just smells different. It feels different. The air quality is special. It just is, and I love it. I just love that. I love jacket weather. And the fall is the best. So I want to sort of focus on those little places, just to even walk around places. Maybe grab a cup of coffee to go and just walk around and just look and watch the leaves as they fall and maybe take a couple of pictures with your family. So if you've got a little, section that you think is a little, diamond in the rough, your little private Idaho. Not that we're going to send the whole world there. But I want to focus on those little spaces to go to and to check them out. I'm actually, if you give us an idea of where a place to go, we'll go there and we'll take some pictures and I'll actually talk about some of those areas as well. I'm going to want to do that for this fall. So if you know a place that you don't think a lot of people really go to or talk about, just sort of give that town a little bit of recognition. So you can. Deb Cricket says, who is the president now? Obama still? I don't know. I said that in the beginning of the show, Deb. I don't know exactly who is running the White House, but apparently no one has bothered to mention Kamala Harris is running the show. Back to the 5 o'clock focus. Michael A. says, the company I work for has the most delightful woman that cleans the bathrooms in this 3,000 square foot building. Her slogan is, your poop is my gold. Now, okay, that makes sense. Fume says Reese wants to go apple picking and pumpkin picking instead of watching football on Sundays. I don't want to go on Sundays, but not that I'm saying I want to go pumpkin picking. That's not what I mean. I've done that before, and I'll be honest with you. I'm bored within 15 minutes. That's not what I'm talking about. I've been to a lot of small towns, right? Like West Hartford is a great walking neighborhood. There were places in Vernon, great walking. There's one section of Manchester where I used to live. You guys know where Fountain View homes are. There's a park right across the street. Why I can't remember the name of the park. Right across the street from Fountain View. That park is great. And they've got do they still have the Frisbee? I haven't been there so long. I wonder if they still have the Frisbee game there. It's sort of like, you toss the Frisbee to get it into the little chains. It's like a goal that you have to sort of toss the Frisbee into. I never knew what the game was, but I know that if I took Ethan there when he was like 6 or 7, I took him there to teach him how to toss a Frisbee. Kid couldn't toss a Frisbee to save his life. He was throwing it like a boomerang. So I was trying to teach him how to flick the arm. Yeah, Frisbee golf. That's it. Thank you. Frisbee golf. Wickham Park. Thank you, Susan. Wickham Park. That's exactly it. Right across the street. I used to live in Fountain View. Wickham Park. A great park. Beautiful. There's this one section of Wickham Park when you go in and you go up and around to the left, and it's all field, and you can look down right into East Hartford. But it looks beautiful. I mean, the part of East Hartford are not too great. But there's this one part of the field that's just huge. We used to go there and have a picnic at the top of that hill and looked down, and it was beautiful at Wickham Park. God, thank you for that, Susan. I appreciate that. Norbrook Brewery also is fantastic in the fall. Their view is excellent. Great food, hiking trails, and they do have the Frisbee game. Wickham Park. Wow, that just brings back so much. All right, let's go to Ralph in South Carolina. Hello, Ralph. You're on Reese on the Radio.
Reese, how you doing? I hope life's treating you well. Two things I'd like to mention. First of all, Senator Cotton talking to the host on ABC.
Yeah, I played that earlier.
And the host on ABC said that Kamala didn't change her, has changed her mind or doesn't support.
Yes. Insurance for all, yes.
We talked about this before. What do you think he would have said if Senator Cotton said to him, please show me your proof? What do you think his answer would have been? Really? That's serious.
I know. That's what he said. He didn't. You notice that when he says, he didn't say, tell me where she said that. Tell me where she said that. And he didn't have anything. And that's his job. His job is like he's clearly holding water for Kamala Harris. And he says, tell me where she said that. And Jonathan Karl, again, he looks silly as a news guy. Right then and there would say, okay, I need to take a week off. He looked ridiculous.
Absolutely. And again, we talked about it before. I wish every single person who is asking a politician a question when they make a statement, I don't care, Republican, Democrat, makes no difference. Please show me your proof.
Yeah.
If you're going to say something, be able to prove it. And the second thing is, how many immaculate conceptions are you aware of, Reese?
Only the one.
Now, what gets me, and I talked about people as far as the abortion goes. It's my body, my choice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you made a choice with your body to have sex.
There you go. You have got to call. You know what, Ralph? You got to call me earlier. You and I are going to have a great conversation about the abortion thing, but we're not there yet. We're going to get there in the next couple of weeks. I promise you, they're going to be pushing that more than anything because they've got nothing else. But thank you, I appreciate it, Ralph. Let's go to Dan in Connecticut. Hello, Dan. You on with Reese on the Radio?
How you doing today?
Pretty good, sir.
Hey, couple quick things. Who's running the show in D.C.? Nobody, the cabinet, because Obama's not there, Biden's not there, and Kamala's not there.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I don't think anyone is running the show. And you said the cabinet. I'm trying to figure out whether or not it's Sullivan, if it's Blinken, is it Austin? Who's got to be making the decisions? And every American should be outraged at that because none of them have been elected.
Right. And, if Biden's going to be taking all this time off, then you know what? Just resign.
Yeah.
You can't handle the job anymore. But on another quick subject, I grew up in East Hartford. Wickham Park, when you were up on top having your picnic looking at East Hartford,
yeah,
the bottom of the hill where it used to be the Marco Polo was there. I think it's an Indian restaurant now.
Yeah.
All those trees were never there. When we used to go sledding on that hill, there was nothing at the bottom you could crash into but cat o' nine tails or whatever was down, or cattails were down there, and that was it.
Yeah.
And back when I was a very, very little kid, which is way back, they actually had a rope tow that went up the hill all the way over to the north side of that hill that they had a gas engine up top with a little wheel on it. It would just pull the rope up. You didn't have to walk up the hill.
So you just grab it and they pull you up the hill because that hill's steep, Dan.
When you're a kid, that's a long walk after sledding all the way down it. And, it's a rough one. And the place across the thing, it was Fountain Village.
Uh-huh.
I was just by there. I'm still in Manchester, and I live in Manchester. And I went by there Saturday night, and the fountain's still there. I don't think it was running, but it's still there.
Yeah, the fountain's still there. That much I know. The fountain is still there. But you know what? That was my first real apartment in Connecticut, and I lived just to the left of that of the fountain. I think it was like the third or fourth apartment to the left-hand side, and I just remember the first time I went into Wickham Park. The only reason why I went there is because I lost a helicopter that I bought from Walmart. I bought one of those helicopters, and it flew right across in there. We tried to find it, and we never found it. But that's how I discovered Wickham Park.
Yep, back in the day, it's like we used to fly kites out of there on the east side of the hill.
Uh-huh.
Out over when 84 was very thin and it was farther away from there. We used to fly kites over, and I remember crashing a kite almost out where Cheney Tech was. I think I had a few thousand feet of line on that thing.
Oh, wow.
I remember it crashing, and it was like when something picked it up on the highway, like the rope, like took off a little bit. We just let it go.
Did you have to, wait a minute, did you do it on the bridge portion? Because everywhere else, like if you go towards East Hartford from Manchester on that road, that's all trees. Did you have to go to where the bridge is?
No, we were literally in Wickham Park when you.
Oh, in the
entrance,
in the big area. Okay.
On the rise right there on the left as you go in, we used to fly kites there because you used to catch a easterly, west to east wind.
Yeah.
And I remember having it way out there, and it was like, and it crashed, and then all of a sudden the rope took off. So I think a truck or something grabbed onto it, and it was gone.
That is a great place to fly a kite. I will admit that. That's just all open air. In that big gap, it's a beautiful place. Ethan and I used to fly kites there. We did, we had the before they had drones, we had the little remote control helicopter that we lost because I think we broke the antenna and we couldn't get the thing to turn around, so it just went. It just kept going forward.
Those helicopters were heck to fly.
They were.
I mean, it was like the slightest move and it turned sideways and flipped and crashed.
Yeah, it was the mess. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that, man. Talk about going back, man. You too. Everett's in East Hartford. Hello, Everett.
Hello. Yeah, you were talking about my hometown there, so I had to call in.
Sure.
Reminisce a little bit.
Oh, you mean Manchester or East Hartford?
Well, East Hartford, Wickham Park's like right on the town line.
Yeah, exactly. I think that if there's a sign that's on that, what's the name of that main road right there where Fountain is that goes right into East Hartford across where Wickham Park's entrance is? What's the name of that street there?
Oh, that's Brewer Street.
Yes, exactly. Walk straight down. Right, walk straight down into East Hartford because there's a sign. There's a historic sign that's right there.
No, it's Burnside. Excuse me.
Burnside.
Burnside.
Right. There's a sign. There's a street sign that's there on the opposite side. I think it's near the bus stop. But there's an old sign there. And if I'm right, Manchester was established in 1782? Is the time something
like that?
Something like that. I remember that sign because we used to walk down I used to walk the kids down there to go to the grocery store. And what used to make me nervous is that I didn't want the kids because the closest store is walking down that road. But the thing that always bothered me is that I didn't want the kids walking down the street because there was, if the kids were to get kidnapped, who would know on that road? You could just grab. Yeah. I never wanted the kids to walk. So I would always walk them down there to go to the grocery store to get them out of the house or go to the candy store. And I was always nervous about it. Because being from New York and being in a town like that, I didn't experience small, quiet towns like that before, which made me fall in love with the town.
When people used to dump soap into the fountain and turn it into a big giant.
I do. Yes, I do remember that. That was not. Trust me.
One of those times, it was my cousin.
Really? It was. Yeah. It was not. In fact, the people who ran the place, you always complain about that every time. It was like somebody put soap in the fountain again, and they'd stop running it because of it. And I'm like, it's festive. Thank you, Everett. I appreciate you, buddy. Yeah, I
have a good one.
You too. And we thought, it's so funny because we thought about going, Manchester, either the place across the street from Buckland Hills, and it's escaping me now, the name of it, that's over by the Red Robin. Those apartments I lived in, that was when I first got to Hartford. It was there. But when I moved the family up, we were at Fountain. And that apartment wasn't the greatest. We didn't have any furniture in that place. We weren't there long enough. But I really, really did love being there. It's just Wickham Park alone is just something. That's what made me fall in love with New England, the fall weather in that area. It's just something about it. Just the breeze, as also what Dan was talking about. You get that east-west breeze that comes through, and you hear the leaves. You don't hear traffic. You don't hear fire engines, you don't hear gunshot, and I'm kidding. You don't hear a lot of stuff. It was quiet, and you when you're a guy coming from New York, living in the city on the Upper East Side, where everything is an alarm, everything is a fire truck or a police car and all that stuff, and you move to Connecticut, and it's just the sound. I'll never forget the first thunderstorm I had to deal with. Like, you live in a big, giant building and there's a thunderstorm, you feel protected. You don't have to worry about anything. But when you're in a house or a small apartment and you get the thunderstorm, you feel like the lightning is right outside your door. That was a little testy for me. It's always a little testy. But I love it more than then you know. Craig says, come to East Haddam to visit the Devil's Hopyard. Is that a Devil's Hopyard State Park. Okay, these are all good. I want to hear all of these, especially the small little towns within the area. So don't forget, just let me know. Go to reasonoradio.com and let me know those small little things. We'll find a way to incorporate them. And, of course, I will check out every one of these locations because that will be that's the whole idea, is to go there and check them out, take pictures, talk about them, and to post them online and to sort of give my review. We'll do that and plenty of other stuff we've got coming up as well on the show. I told you we're going to do that Connecticut Green Bank thing, and I'm almost done with that. My wife and I are working on some details for that, so make sure you check that out coming up this week. Tomorrow, don't worry, we were coming back on terrestrial radio, so you'll be able to hear us immediately at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And don't forget to go to reasonoradio.com if you want to check out the Sunday show that you missed on Sunday. You can actually listen to it commercial-free by going to reasonradio.com. So as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your minds. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on Radio. He is Andre Ferro in the BPS Traffic Center. I will see you guys tomorrow.
Andre Ferro from the Brown, Payne, Dearest, and Scott Lawyers Traffic Center.
All right, good sir.
All right, finally, back to normal tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Finally starting.
Say what up to Justin. I'm training him for the week. Next week when I'm out.
Oh, Justin, that's right. Okay, wait a minute now. When you said next week you'll be out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what do you be like all week? You'll be there.
In New Haven and approaching.
Well, he'll be. Joey's gonna be Monday, Tuesday. He's gonna be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay. All right. Well, the only thing Justin needs to remember is just how we do the intro, and I'll tell him that for sometimes I might incorporate him.
Traffic and weather together on the 8th.
So,
I reached. Yep, I got it.
you got it, boss man. Okay. All right. Well, good luck to you, man.
Thanks.
And I will see you guys later.
Yeah, look forward to working with you.
You got it, man. You too. All right.
WTIC weather.
Uh-oh. There it is. No? There it is. All right, folks. All right, I'm out of here. I've got to prepare for my wife's birthday coming up soon. Don't give me any ideas. The cleaning lady with poop is gold for running the country. You're on fire today. You and Michael B. All right, guys. You guys be good. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.